Back at the Metrodome, Dick Bramer along with Roy Smalley, and down on the field, Ole Zupitz. We'll hear from Ole again in just a few minutes. You look at the matchup for the Class AA championship game, Owatonna against Grand Rapids. This Grand Rapids team, as we mentioned, with just 3 seniors, beating New Ulm 8-1 in the semifinal game. It was New Ulm beating Cretin-Derham Hall 2-1 in the third place game, played earlier this morning here at the Metrodome. You look at some of these statistics, Roy, the pitching staff for Owatonna. Chuck Wiley will throw in the championship game, but his twin brother Chad has a good record, and Rich Zock, who we have not seen in this tournament, or at least so far, he's got a pretty good record too.
3 really good pitchers, Dick. 6-1 for Chuck Wiley, 6-0 for his twin brother Chad, and Rich Zock at 5-0 with an 0.68 ERA. Looks like they've got some guys that can get some people out.
All right, Ole Zupitz is standing by downstairs. Let's go to him. Ole?
We're live with Coach Bob Streeter looking for championship number 3. Bob, you might be a little bit surprised to be here with only 3 seniors on the club, but you're here nonetheless. What do you think of Owatonna and your chances against the team from Owatonna?
Well, they're a good ball club. They seem to have a lot of good pitching that seems to carry them. We've just kind of battled and just played hard, and our pitching has been good enough to win, and when we don't pitch, we hit. So we're kind of a scrambling team against a pretty good ball club, so we're going to have to keep scrambling to beat them.
Your team wasn't ranked in the final top 10 ratings, but nonetheless, you're here. You whacked the ball all over the ballpark against New Ulm yesterday. Tonight and this afternoon, you're going to see a kid that throws the ball about 90 miles an hour, Wiley. What are your hitters' chances against this kid?
Well, we just got to make them throw strikes and hopefully make contact. And with the kid throwing that hard, maybe they're not used to playing as much defense because the ball doesn't get hit. And we can put it in play and make them handle it. We got a chance.
Brett Holm will be on the mound. He's been your best pitcher most of the season. You must be comfortable with that.
Yeah, if he has a good ball game, he'll keep us close, and that'll give us a good chance to win this.
Well, let's meet your seniors right now, Brett Holm and Brad Rasmussen. Good luck, Bob. We'll talk to you afterwards.
Yeah, thank you.
And let's have them in here, fellas. Come on in. Brad Rasmussen, you'll be behind the plate this afternoon.
Yep.
Senior, comments? Are you nervous? Or what are your comments about facing this 90-mile-an-hour pitcher, Wiley?
Well, I really haven't seen him. I seen him pitch yesterday, but he looked pretty quick, and got to go up there and take your cuts and make him make the plays.
You're going to work with Brett. You're going to call the signals behind the plate. What are you going to try to do with Brett to keep the Owatonna hitters a little bit off today?
Well, we're going to try to be working in and out and moving the pitches around a lot and throwing some change-ups.
You're a real young team. Are you surprised that you're here in the final?
Oh, I don't know. We would think we could do it if we just played ball, and that's what we did, and we're here.
Brett, we'll let you get back. We're going to go to Brett right now. Brett Holm, you're on the mound. You hit a home run out of the ballpark yesterday. You knocked a triple off the alley. You were as much a hitter as you are a pitcher. This afternoon, you've got to try to keep Owatonna off the board. What can you do to work their hitters?
Well, I got to change up. My fastball's not popping like it should be. I got to work with my curve and my split finger a little bit and just keep them off balance. Make them hit the ball. I got to keep the ball inside and just throw strikes.
Will you be able? What are you going to do to try to hit Wiley today?
Take your cuts. I don't think no one can overpower this team. So, no, I think we can get up there and hit them as good as any other pitcher.
You hear it's the national anthem. We'll be back with the game in just a moment.
Minnesota State High School Baseball Championship action is brought to you by Warner Industrial Supply, Minnesota's largest Pratt & Lambert dealer. Your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers, check the yellow pages for the one nearest you. True Value Hardware Stores, it's more than our name, it's our way of doing business. And Nick's Sports World, your Minnesota sports store, located 5 blocks west of the Dome.
Hey, Charlie, looks like you could use a shoulder to cry on.
There's one in here somewhere.
Vince, what are you doing?
Getting out of the crash dummy business. No way I'm ending up like Charlie there.
But, Vince, how else can we prove safety belts save lives?
We could buckle up.
How many times I gotta tell you, we're dummies. We don't wear safety belts.
Vince, Larry, your number's up.
Could save a life.
No, I'm with you, partner.
Yeah.
Vince, break a leg.
A regular comedian.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Attention sports fans. Nick's Sports World is your headquarters for world champion Minnesota Twins souvenirs. Stop by before or after any Twins home game and see the largest selection of Twins souvenirs. Register to win Twins home game tickets every time you visit Nick's Sports World. After every Twins home victory, pick up your free rally rag with any purchase. Nick's also carries Timberwolves merchandise, including hats, shirts, jackets, and sweatshirts. So stop by Nick's Sports World on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 7th Street, just 5 blocks from the Dome, for the largest selection of Twins souvenirs.
All you need to know about great selection and low prices is here, inside the newest circular from True Value Hardware Stores. Check out the Father's Day circular for the Handyman Folding Pocket Saw by Stanley. That's just $3.49. This Metal X patio table with tempered glass top for only $9.99. And the rugged Gott Tote 6 cooler with refreeze bottle in the lid is just $4.99 at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Get a look at the Owatonna defense. They are the home team for the championship game here this afternoon. And Owatonna will have John Springer at first base. Steve Smith at second, Mike Nolan at short, Chad Wiley will be the third baseman. An outfield of Mark Hansen, Chris Urbane, and Rich Zock. Kirk Keel will be behind the plate. And Chuck Wiley, the twin brother of Chad Wiley, the third baseman, will be on the mound. The two twin brothers are the two best pitchers for this Indian team. We mentioned Rich Zock has also pitched some and pitched very well, so pitching has gotten this Owatonna team here. Chuck Wiley's numbers on the year, look at those strikeouts, 121 strikeouts in 73 innings pitched.
That's phenomenal. He obviously has a great fastball. We heard him talk in the pregame show with Ole Zupitz about staying with his fastball. That's what's got him here. I'm sure that's what got him 121 strikeouts, and he will be staying with that. But Dick, as we saw the other night in the Class A game, Chris Case had excellent stuff, had trouble finding the plate the first 2 innings, and it cost him 3 runs and ultimately the ball game. And I think the key for Mr. Wiley will be to get his good stuff over the plate. Conversely, for the Grand Rapids players, anybody that throws close to 90 miles an hour, whether it's high school or Major League Baseball, you have to get a good pitch to hit, because a 90-mile-an-hour fastball out of the strike zone is an impossible pitch to hit.
You saw the starting lineup for the Grand Rapids Indians. Troy Kuzi, Bill Bishop, and Brad Rasmussen will be the first 3 hitters to face Chuck Wiley. But Wiley's numbers are impressive. He's had some outstanding individual ball games. 2 no-hitters this year, one against Shakopee, the other against Rochester Mayo. And in a game against Austin, he struck out 21. So he can really overpower you at times.
I'm assuming that's a 7-inning game too, where he struck out everybody. Every out that was recorded in the catcher's glove.
So here's Troy Kuzi, and we're underway in the AA championship game. First pitch in there, a strike. We alluded to it in our pregame show, the fact that Wiley's big concern is his control. His brother Chad, in the win over Cretin yesterday, allowed only 2 hits, but he walked 10, but struck out 11. Up the middle and fielded by Nolan. His throw in time, and there's one gone.
That's a nice play by Mike Nolan. Tough hop off this Metrodome turf. It's hard to gauge just exactly what kind of hop that's going to take. He had to get his body in good position to be ready for anything. The ball kind of kangarooed on him, but he was able to stay with it. Off-balance throw, and it got him.
As Ole mentioned, Grand Rapids has won a couple of state championship titles already. Both championships coming after the division split. As you look at Bill Bishop Jr. with a fine batting average over the year for Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids winning the championship, their first in 1978. And then again in 1984. Owatonna won the championship in 1974, and that was back before the classes split. High and outside, and it's 2-0 to Bishop.
Interesting to see what Grand Rapids will do right here. 2-0 count on the hitter, and a tough pitcher out there. Will he go right to the take sign, or will he let him swing away?
Curveball down and in, and it's 3-0.
And I think he was taken all the way there. I think they're going to make Wiley prove that he can throw the ball over the plate consistently.
Twin brothers, Chuck and Chad, doing the bulk of the pitching for this Owatonna team. 3-0 pitch, and Bishop almost certainly will be taking here. Oh, he went after it. On 3-0, he missed the fastball, and the count up on the scoreboard, they say now, is 2-2.
Well, I guess they got one of those calls. The first 2 pitches was a strike.
So the count is 2-2 with 1 out in the top of the first inning. Chop to the left side. Nolan picks it up on the run. He throws, and it's bobbled by John Springer at first base. And Bishop reaches first base.
That's too bad. Another nice play by Mike Nolan, charging the ball, throwing off balance. You'll notice, Dick, that the ball was hit to the opposite side. Here we see Nolan, and we couldn't really tell. The ball didn't look like it was in the dirt that much. I think the first baseman, John Springer, just had a little bit of trouble handling it. It was a nice play by the shortstop.
And
left-handed hitter hitting the ball to the other side. He was beaten on that by that fastball.
And the error has been charged to John Springer. So 1 out, 1 on, and here's Brad Rasmussen. Takes a ball, and the ball rolls away from Kirk Keel, but not far enough for Bishop to advance. Rasmussen ejected from the semifinal game, upset with a strikeout, and he slammed his bat down and was automatically ejected. He was very apologetic about it afterwards and really felt bad about it, but he's back here in the championship game. And the count goes to 2-0. He had 4 RBIs in the opening round win for Grand Rapids. Throw to first, and Bishop gets back. The on-deck hitter is Brett Holum, who hit one out yesterday. And now 3-0.
Well, if we got the count right this time, Dick, he'll probably be taken. Yeah, I think we do. 3-0. Chuck having a little bit of trouble getting his fastball over the plate. And the Owatonna team respecting Rasmussen at the plate while he's throwing hard, and they're not playing him around to the opposite field like you might suspect. They've got him played pretty straight away, the right fielder pretty close to the line. They think Rasmussen can swing the bat pretty well.
And a walk on 4 pitches. In the 2 games so far in the state tournament, Owatonna has given up only 3 hits. But with some control problems in each game, there have been base runners against Chad and Chuck Wiley. Now runners at first and second, only 1 out, and here's Brett Holum. Holum with a home run in yesterday's game. He's 5 for 9 in the state tournament so far. And he takes a ball and has driven in 6 runs in the 2 games.
We were told he hit one over the world champions Twins 87 sign over the big tarp out there in right field. That's quite a pop for anybody, especially a high school player.
And it's a strike, and it's 1-1. The home plate umpire, Mike Bedoin from Farmington. Rich Decker is the first base umpire. He's from Rochester, and Charlie Johnson from Hitterdal is the second base umpire. And the count goes to 1-1. And now 2-1. They tell us that since they moved the tournament here to the Metrodome, there have been 3 or 4 high schoolers who have hit the ball out of the park. Say the longest one, at least to right field, was hit by Pedro Oliva in last year's tournament. And that is just ball 3.
A little anxious to get the bases loaded there.
I think Brett was fooled by the ball and strike calls of home plate umpire Mike Bedoin like we were earlier.
I think he
delay
was.
Call.
He's calling it a little bit late.
So the count now is 3-1 to Brett Holum.
Here would be a good pitch to really try to tee off on if you can.
And it's a strike, 3-2. So now we'll see if the runners might take off here with 1 out. Pretty good hitter up at the plate. Full count and 1 gone.
I would think in this situation the runners will probably hold with a left-handed hitter up there. Straight shot at third base and a strikeout pitcher on the mound.
Called third strike. The ball got away from the catcher, but no tag is necessary. And there are 2 gone. A big strikeout for Chuck Wiley, getting the cleanup hitter. And the first strikeout of the ball game.
I think Coach Bob Streeter for Grand Rapids wants to see how his club handles the bats against Chuck Wiley before he starts being too aggressive on the base paths. When you get a strikeout pitcher out there, you want to be aggressive and get things going on the bases. Try to steal some runs if you can, but you don't want to strike out into a double play. Excuse me, Dick, but most of Wiley's outs obviously come on the strikeout.
Here's the center fielder, Jace Reed, trying to get a run across here. With 2 gone now in the first inning. First pitch, a ball. Reed, a junior. Inning started with a ground out, then an error by the first baseman, John Springer. A walk to Brad Rasmussen, a strikeout. And now a 2-0 count to center fielder Jace Reed. Reed hitting at .396 coming into the tournament. The top hitter during the regular season for Grand Rapids was Kirk Rubedo at .443. And a strike. It's 2-1. Kind of suspenseful here, waiting for the ball and strike call.
The umpire is verbally letting the catcher and hitter know what the pitch is. The rest of us have to wait for just a second.
Now, one difference that we've seen so far here, Roy, in the AA class, pitch is high and inside. It's 3-1. Outfielders are playing a little bit deeper than the Class A action that we saw earlier in the week.
Well, you know, in the Class A games, I was interested to see how they were going to play the defense in the Metrodome because the guy's not hitting the ball quite as far as he fouls one back to run the count to 3-2. The runners will be going here. But the Class A, what I was going to say is the Class A hitters not hitting the ball as far, and so the outfield tending to want to play shallow to take away the soft hits. And yet here in the Metrodome, if the ball gets between the outfielders, it rolls all the way to the fence, easily a triple, possibly an inside the Parker. Here we're playing a little bit more straight up with the guys hitting the ball a little bit farther. The outfielders can play it deeper and try to cut off those gappers. We got a 3-2 count with 2 outs. The runners will be going. This is a big pitch for Wiley.
There they go. Chopped at the plate and foul. Jace Reed with a full count. The runners will return to their bases as you look at Chuck Wiley. Again, 10 strikeouts in the game against Hopkins. Allowed just the 1 hit. And at 3-2, we'll see what Wiley gives Jace Reed. Fastball or curve.
I'd be surprised if it were something other than that fastball. He likes his fastball, and he can't afford to walk anybody.
It was a curve,
but
and
it was a breaking ball. It was a breaking ball.
Second walk of the inning, and now the bases are full.
Chuck said before the game that he was going to go primarily with his fastball and has not really followed through with that, Dick. He's thrown a lot more curveballs than I expected him to throw, judging from his strikeout ratio and what he said about himself before the game, especially in that situation right there where he doesn't want to load the bases and face another high average hitter with the bases loaded. I really thought he'd go with what he thinks is his best pitch.
And here's the top average hitter during the year for Grand Rapids, Kirk Rubedo, and he takes a strike.
There is such a thing as going to your second best pitch if you're not getting your best pitch over the plate. But I haven't gotten the feeling that Chuck has struggled that much with his fastball.
Fouled away, and Wiley quickly gets ahead of Rubedo, 0-2. Pretty big spot here in the first inning. We expect a rather low-scoring game, but a big hit here by Rubedo could open things up here early for Grand Rapids.
I would think that would give Grand Rapids a huge lift to push a run or two across against Chuck Wiley in the first inning.
Fastball, and just a little bit high. Wiley reached back and put a little bit extra behind that one.
He sure did. He threw that ball hard. That's a tough pitch to lay off with 2 strikes. That high fastball, when it's coming up there, looks like a strike. And the problem is with a guy throwing hard, the ball just doesn't sink down in the strike zone. It stays above.
Breaking ball got him.
Oh, that's a nice pitch.
Two strikeouts in the inning, a couple of walks and an error, but Grand Rapids leaves the bases full. No runs, no hits, an error, and 3 left after a half inning. Grand Rapids nothing, and Owatonna comes to bat.
Instead of predictable primetime programming,
some 89 hostages are being held.
Instead of make-believe heroes,
this is the moment that we've been waiting for.
Instead of the same old primetime song and dance,
farewell to the United States.
Switch to CNN's Prime News with Mary Alice Williams, Bernard Shaw, and Lou Waters. Live every weeknight at 8 Eastern. CNN's Prime News. Instead.
Pratt & Lambert, creators of the finest paints and stains for deep, rich colors, tough weather-resistant finishes, and wood protection, choose Pratt & Lambert. Consumer Reports rated our exterior latex paint at the top. Pratt & Lambert paints and stains over 900 custom color mixes and new superior latex technology. Available through Warner's True Value Hardware, 66th and Nicollet in Richfield, or Warner Industrial Supply, 2211 East Hennepin Avenue, Minneapolis. Minnesota's largest Pratt & Lambert dealer.
My daddy went to the hospital today. My mother said his heart is sick. He says it won't be long until he comes back. I hope he gets well soon because I miss him very much.
What heart disease can mean is leaving home one day and never coming back. You can help prevent heart disease. We can tell you how.
Here's a look at the Grand Rapids defensive alignment. Barry Peralt at first base, Kevin Persons at second, Kirk Rubedo at short, and Troy Kuzy at third. Scott Munger in left, Jace Reed in center, Bill Bishop in right, Brad Rasmussen behind the plate, and Brett Holem, the pitcher for Grand Rapids. Holem's record coming into the tournament 9-3 with a 1.17 earned run average, and as he said in our pregame show, he's picked up a couple of wins here in the state tournament. As he said in the pregame show, his fastball doesn't have quite the snap that he would like, so he's going to have to change speeds a little bit, he feels. But again, 125 strikeouts in 88 innings.
And watching him warm up, it looks to me like he's throwing the ball pretty well. It's amazing what the adrenaline in a big game like this will do to your fastball a lot of times, and you can warm up on the side and not feel like you have real good stuff and get out there when the bell rings and end up throwing the ball very, very well.
Here's the Owatonna lineup. It'll be Mark Hansen leading it off, followed by Mike Nolan and Chris Urbane in the first inning. And the first pitch in there, a strike. Hansen had a good opening game against Hopkins, 3 for 4 in that game. Good leadoff hitter. And it's strike 2. So quickly Holem gets ahead on the count. Swing and a miss. He got him on 3 pitches. And Brett Holem comes right after him here and retires Mark Hansen with a strikeout.
And Dick, if he is not happy with the life on his fastball, then I don't want to hit against him ever when he's got some life on his fastball. He threw that ball hard. Another good high fastball, as Mr. Wiley showed us in the top of the inning.
Here's Mike Nolan, number 2 hitter for Owatonna. Swing and a miss. 4 pitches, 4 strikes for Brett Holem.
And 4 fastballs. I think these pitchers were trying to set us up, Dick, before the game. They were afraid the other team was listening.
That one misses. It's 1-1.
Both of these pitchers, Dick, have excellent pitching mechanics. I'm really impressed with their body mechanics on the mound. Their deliveries are very smooth. Shouldn't be a whole lot of reason for them to be too wild. Their release points are good.
And the Owatonna Indians having a hard time catching up with Holem's fastball. It's 1-2.
And I think they will have a hard time with it the rest of the day unless they get the ball down. That's a tough pitch to hit up there. They're going to have to be a little more disciplined.
And 2-2. Look at the defensive alignment. Right fielder Bill Bishop playing a shallow right field.
Very shallow. That's kind of a gutsy place to play in this ballpark.
On a line to center field, Reed started in, but goes back and makes an over-the-shoulder catch. Got a bad, or at least a late jump on the ball. It appeared as if he came in a step or two and then realized the ball was hit pretty good.
I think he had a hard time seeing that ball at first, Dick. He made a nice recovery to get back and make an over-the-shoulder catch.
So Jace Reed hauls it in, over the shoulder, 2 gone, and Chris Urbane is the hitter.
Chris Urbane batted .613. I keep looking back at this to see if that's a typo, Dick. .613.
7 home runs, 37 RBIs. First pitch in there, a strike.
That's an MVP year in any league. I don't think I've ever seen anybody hit .613, even in high school.
Outside of slow pitch softball, yeah. 0-1 pitch, misses, and it's 1-1. I'm sure that Brett Holem and the rest of the Grand Rapids team very happy to see Chris Urbane coming to the plate with no runners on base. Foul back, it's 1-2.
That will probably be their goal the entire game, is that they're going to have to pitch to Chris at least 3 times. They're going to want to make it be with nobody on if they can.
2 gone, bottom of the first inning, no score here at the Metrodome. Roy Smalley and Dick Bramer along with Ole Zupitz bringing you the Class AA championship between Owatonna and Grand Rapids. High fly ball, center field. Reed coming in. And he's got it. An easy 1-2-3 inning for Brett Holem and the Grand Rapids Indians. 3 up and 3 down, and after 1, no score from the Metrodome.
Take an amazing voyage through Plymouth Grand Voyager and discover why the pride's inside. Beyond the versatility and front-wheel drive, past the powerful fuel-injected V6 engine, the best protection and highest owner satisfaction of any minivan. The pride's inside before you're inside.
See your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer now.
In response to our challenge, people attempted to stain new wear-dated carpet with stain blocker in some very imaginative ways. Of course, they didn't have much luck, but they sure had fun trying.
Available at Carpet Country, Brooklyn Park.
If you're one of the thousands of people who asked for a free sample of wear-dated carpet with stain blocker and tried it, you'll probably like to know what steps to take to buy it.
Wear dated, please.
So call for the dealer near you.
Available at Carpet Country, Brooklyn Park.
No score as we go to the second inning. Grand Rapids will send up the bottom third of the order. Kevin Persons, Barry Peralt, and Scott Munger to face Chuck Wiley. Persons, one of the juniors on this Grand Rapids team. The second baseman. Takes a breaking pitch in there for a strike. Another curve, and it's in there for a strike. Wiley did not allow a hit in the first inning, but he left the bases full. An error and a couple of walks, but he finished strong, striking out 2 of the last 3 hitters. The first 2 hitters put the ball in play. The last 4 did not. Chopped foul outside of third, just outside the bag. Third base umpire Charlie Johnson making that call. And the count remains 0-2. Get a pitcher like Wiley on the mound with some obviously very good stuff, good fastball, good curveball. Makes it really tough when you go up there and you stand in 0-2.
It sure does, and especially the first time you see him, he drops 2 curveballs over for a strike. You haven't even seen his fastball yet.
There it is, and it's fouled at the plate.
Kevin Persons really hanging in there tough. as I mentioned, got a guy out here with a reputed 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and he throws him 2 breaking balls to get ahead 0-2. He has not seen the 90-mile-an-hour fastball yet, and then the third pitch is a fastball that he fouled. He pulled down the left field line and then fouled that one off, so he's hanging in there tough.
Curveball hangs up just a little bit high, and it's 1-2. It'll be Persons followed by Peralt and Munger in the top of the second inning. Again, if you're unaware of the high school rules, it's a 7-inning game unless we have a tie. Now it's 2-2. St. Cloud Cathedral, the winner of the Class 8 championship the other night and morning. Look at Bob Streeter, coach for Grand Rapids. He's won this game twice before. Bounce to the right side. Steve Smith ranges over there, and a quick throw, and they got him by a half step.
Kevin Persons.
Yeah.
Kevin Persons gets down that line pretty well, doesn't he, Dick? That looked like it was going to be a routine play, and I'm sure Steve Smith thought with that second big hop he wasn't going to have much problem, and looked up and had to really hurry. He looked up, and Kevin Persons was right on top of it. Here you'll see it. He comes in, gets it, thinks he's all right, but has to unload the ball to get Kevin Persons. Nice hustle.
So 1 out, and that will bring up the first baseman, Barry Peralt. Slow curve gets the inside corner. Wiley has a very slow wind-up and delivery. Very deliberate. And then he blows the fastball past him. It's 0-2. Foul tip. And Peralt is behind in the count, 0-2.
That's the key to pitching right there, is get your pitches over the plate. He started the last 2 hitters off with breaking balls and then come back with a fastball and gotten it over too. That's tough to beat. That's the way to pitch.
0-2 pitch. Curve hit well to left. Hansen had him played perfectly. 2 gone.
Wiley got away with the bad pitch there. He let a curveball hang inside there. And with 2 strikes, the hitter undoubtedly trying to guard the plate, being ready for anything, not guessing, just looking for the ball. And when you hang a curveball inside like that, it stays there like it's spinning on a string saying, hit me, hit me, hit me.
2 gone in the second, and the number 9 hitter, Scott Munger, the left fielder, comes to the plate.
Wiley doing a good job, though. He's throwing strikes, and that's the key. When you have good stuff and you throw strikes with both of your pitches, you get away much more with the bad pitches that you make than when you don't throw the ball over the plate.
Interesting looking at Munger's numbers. 7 home runs, .299 average. Bob Streeter putting a little bit of muscle in the bottom of his batting lineup. Curve in there for a strike. It's 1-1.
Could be with the 7 home runs, but hitting only .299, and I say only advisedly. I would have been ecstatic with .299. In high school, some of these averages like .613, maybe that's not getting on via the hit as often, but with 7 home runs, maybe a home run or strikeout type of guy.
Takes a pretty healthy cut.
That's a good swing. I think that may be the case. I think that Scott Munger might be a strong kid that has a ability to hit the ball a long ways, as evidenced by his 7 home runs, but maybe not a real good contact hitter.
Stands 6'1", weighs 200. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Up high, and it's 2-2.
Perfect place to put a guy like that in the 9th spot. Hard to count on a guy that doesn't make a lot of contact in the 4th, 5th, and 6th RBI positions, but what a blessing to have a 9th hitter that can hit the ball in the ballpark, get you a quick run or 2.
Chopped foul at the plate. We mentioned in our pregame show the fact that Owatonna has 10 seniors on their squad, and all 10 are in the lineup. Grand Rapids loaded with juniors. They have 12 juniors on the team, and it's got to really bode well for them for next year. In fact, they made it to the state championship game with a lot of juniors on the team.
It sure does, and I'm sure they're not thinking about next year right now. What a huge game for the players.
And catcher Kirk Keel thought it was strike 3. I think Chuck Wiley thought it might have been strike 3 too, but it's Instead, ball 4, and Munger gets a 2-out walk.
That was a good pitch. It was very, very close. Could have gone either way, it looked like. I think we were all fooled by a 3-2 breaking ball from Chuck Wiley right there. The hitter, and the umpire, and you and I.
Troy Kuzy, the hitter. Kuzy grounded out his first time. There's the curve for the strike. That is a good-looking curveball.
It really is, and when he's starting hitters, as I mentioned before, when he's starting hitters off with it and getting it over, that puts an awful lot of doubt in a hitter's mind. He doesn't know now if he's going to come back with that good curveball or bring that heat up there. Anytime you get that kind of doubt in a hitter's mind, it's hard to take a good swing at a ball.
Time is called. Wiley has given up 3 walks. He has struck out a couple. Another runner reached on an error, but no hits. And we suspect that might be the case. A low hit, low run ball game. Up high, and it's 1-1.
Well, looking at the stat sheets, Dick, we suspected before the game that it might be a pitcher-dominated, that they were pitcher-dominated teams, and this might be a low-scoring ball game. You have Brett Hollum 9-3 with a 1.17, and of course Chuck Wiley 0.87 ERAs.
Fouled back, up and over the screen. It's 1-2.
Usually in games like this, games are decided by defense and or walks. And so it'll be important for both pitchers to not allow an awful lot of runners on that base via the walk. They're going to have to make them swing the bat and hit that good stuff, or else too many funny things can happen. Runs can score when they really shouldn't.
1-2 count to Troy Kuzy. There goes the runner, pitches outside, and the throw not in time. Stolen base for Scott Munger. And the count is even at 2-2.
That's a nice play there for Grand Rapids, and nice call by Coach Bob Streeter. You have your #1 hitter up with 2 strikes and 2 outs. You get the man in scoring position with 2 outs. It's a good gamble. If he gets thrown out, you lead off the next inning with the top of your order. And if he makes it, now he's in scoring positions, can score on an error or a base hit, whereas he probably would not score from first base.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Bounced up towards the middle and through, and the stolen base may pay off. And it does. Munger comes around to score, and Grand Rapids leads 1-0.
Well, that's a run for the coach right there. That's a good play, taking the gamble with 2 strikes and 2 outs. For 2 reasons, Dick. Is that a good gamble? #1, it gets the guy to second base and eventually in on a little nubbing single like that. But also with 2 strikes, the way Wiley's been pitching, good chance of getting a breaking ball there, going for the strikeout. Breaking ball, a little bit better pitch to steal on. Here we see the replay, and the throw will not even be made to the plate.
So a 1-0 Grand Rapids lead. Kuzy at first base, and we'll keep an eye on him now with Bill Bishop, the hitter. Quick throw to first, and Kuzy gets back.
Also a tough play for the shortstop on that ground ball, Dick. You really want to think about knocking the ball down, just staying in front of it and keeping it in the infield there.
Fastball inside, 2-0.
But I'm sure he felt like he was going to get to the ball and be able to make the play for the 3rd out. So he didn't want to dive or flop down and just block it. He wanted to make the play, and when he got to the ball, it was a tough in-between hop, and so he wasn't in position to knock it down. That was a tough decision to make.
And there's a strike, 2-1. Chuck Wiley, who gave up just 1 hit to Hopkins in the quarterfinal game, gives one up here with a runner in scoring position, and Grand Rapids turns it into a run. In the dirt, good stop by Kirk Keel. 3-1.
And in fairness to Chuck Wiley and his defense, that was kind of a metronome hit too. It bounced over his head and scooted through there. I'm sure they're not used to playing on AstroTurf very much, if at all. And that would have been easy ground ball on a grass field.
In there for a strike, it's a full count. So now for sure, Troy Kuzy will take off with 2 gone on the top of the 2nd.
Bill Bishop hit 367 on the year. The runner will, so he can swing the bat a little bit. The runner will be going with a full count, 2 out, so he's going to try and score him if he can.
Down the left field line, but twisting foul. Again, a little late on the fastball. Kuzi will return to first base. Kuzi's just a freshman. Talked about the fact there are only 3 seniors, 12 juniors. There's a freshman on this Grand Rapids team in Kuzi, and a couple of sophomores.
Boy, that's fun to see. A freshman playing in a state high school championship game.
Getting an RBI single.
Playing well. That's great.
Full count to Bill Bishop. Reached on an error his first time, was stranded at third base in the first inning. Now time is called by the hitter at the plate. Again, the runner goes, chopped up the middle, and again it's through. Kuzi will get third. Here's the throw. That allows the runner to take second base. Back-to-back singles, bouncers up the middle. Grand Rapids has scored 1, and now they have a pair of runners in scoring position.
Something that is taught at all levels of the game, Dick, and even in the major league level, a lot of outfielders have trouble with this. They see that lead runner taking an extra base and want to stop him, when the key is to keep the runner behind from taking an extra base. And it looks like Chris Urbane, I should say, is now thinking about that. He's down on his haunches out there in center field. That runner was going on the pitch, and on a base hit was going to make it to third easily. The throw should have come into second base, and I think Chris knows that.
Brad Rasmussen with a chance to open things up here in the first inning, takes a strike. And Wiley's thrown a lot of pitches here in the second inning.
That extra 90 feet is really, really important, especially when you have a good pitcher like Wiley.
High and outside, it's 1-1.
He's given up 1 run, may not give up another. He might let this runner at third score, but chances are he wouldn't let the runner score from first base if you can hold him to just a single on that 1 ball.
And here's the 1-1 pitch. Grounded sharply to the right side. Springer is there. A race to the bag, and he's out. Springer beat Rasmussen by a shadow, and that's a big, big play for Owatonna. 1 run scores on a couple of hits, no errors, and 2 left, and after an inning and a half, the Grand Rapids Indians get the early lead.
Attention sports fans. Nick's Sports World is your headquarters for world champion Minnesota Twins souvenirs. Stop by before or after any Twins home game and see the largest selection of Twins souvenirs. Register to win Twins home game tickets every time you visit Nick's Sports World. After every Twins home victory, pick up your free rally rag with any purchase. Nick's also carries Timberwolves merchandise, including hats, shirts, jackets, and sweatshirts. So stop by Nick's Sports World on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 7th Street, just 5 blocks from the Dome, for the largest selection of Twins souvenirs.
Is your living room less than comfortable? Why settle for ugly old furniture when you could afford to decorate your living room with furniture like this? At Quality Furniture Rental, you can lease or rent to own from a wide selection of beautiful new furniture. Whether you need a spare bed or you've just moved and your decorating budget is tight, Quality Furniture Rental has furnishings for every room in your home. The latest VCRs, TVs, and stereos, even office furniture, all at surprisingly affordable prices. Don't settle for less. Get what you need now at Quality Furniture Rental, Bloomington and St. Paul.
With Roy Smalley, Dick Bramer at the Metrodome. Grand Rapids leads it 1-0. They get a run in the top of the first inning. And Ole Zupitz is downstairs, I believe. Ole?
We're in an aroused Grand Rapids dugout right now. The Indians don't feel they got the benefit of some calls, some low balls that Grand Rapids coach Bob Streeter has argued should have been called balls, were called strikes. Grand Rapids is aroused and angry. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, Owatonna and Coach Dale Tim feel that they will hit Holm, they will score some runs. Their concern is when will it occur. So Grand Rapids is aroused and Owatonna is very optimistic. We'll go back up now to Dick and Roy.
Chad Wiley will try to get things started in the bottom of the second inning. First pitch in there, a strike. Give Brett Hollum some credit. He has thrown strikes. Retired the side in order in the first. And now he's been given a run to work with. And it's 1-1.
Chad Wiley, the other half of the twin tandem here that are the terrors for the Owatonna Ball Club. Good pitcher in his own right, 6-0 with a 2.15 ERA and playing third base and hitting some home runs.
Saw 7 home runs on the year. The count goes to 2-1. Wiley yesterday threw a 2-hitter at Cretin, but he walked 10, struck out 11. And now it's 3-1.
That's doing some pitching, Dick, when you face a ball club as good as Cretin and walk 10 men and hang around and beat them. You know you've gotten tough and done some pitching.
Well, again, the third place game was played this morning, and New Ulm won that 2-1 over Cretin Durham Hall. It'll be Chad Wiley, John Springer, and Rich Zock here in the second inning. High pop-up behind the plate and back out of play. So 3-2 the count now to the leadoff hitter here in the second inning, Chad Wiley. Unfortunately, in high school baseball, when you catch one of those, you got to throw her back.
Well, you just don't quite have the funds, do you, Dick, to be giving baseballs away.
Called third, got him.
Nice
Second
pitch.
strikeout for Brett Hollum.
Nice pitch. Fastball right in the corner. It's darn near unhittable. You get a right-handed hitter up there against a right-handed pitcher, and he throws it out there on the outside corner. It's just time to hope the umpire calls it a ball.
One gone, and John Springer is the hitter. Hollum came back from a 3-1 count to get Wiley the leadoff man. Springer, the first baseman, steps in. Hollum winds and fires. First pitch misses the inside corner. Ball 1. Well, Hollum was talking about using a changeup, a split finger, breaking pitch, and a fastball.
Sounds like he's got a wide assortment.
Fastball outside. It's 2-0. You can see him looking into the Grand Rapids dugout. I'm sure that Bob Streeter is giving him a lot of help from the dugout about which pitches to pitch, where to throw. And catcher Brad Rasmussen will come out and have a chat.
Well, Brett hasn't had too much trouble throwing the ball over the plate thus far. I think he's entitled to 1-2-0 count once in a while.
He went to 3-1 on Chad Wiley before coming back and getting him. Now he needs to throw a strike here to Springer. And 3-0. Talking about the pitcher's motions being free and easy, it seems as if Hollum is almost trying to overthrow the ball a little bit. Doesn't seem to be as smooth as he was in the first inning. He walks Springer on 4 pitches.
I think you're right, Dick. I think he was overthrown a little bit and got behind 2-0 and then got a little bit rattled. I think he lost a little confidence there about being able to throw the ball over the plate.
Missed on 3 straight fastballs, and that will bring Bob Streeter out of the dugout.
I wonder if this is a pattern for Brett Hollum. He's been throwing the ball over with the exception of Chad Wiley. Went to 3-1 but came back and got him. Then he went 2 balls and no strikes on the next hitter, and the catcher went out to the mound, and Coach Bob Streeter was yelling some words of encouragement to him from the bench after just 2 straight balls there. Not exactly been wild, has Brett Hollum. So I wonder if maybe this is a pattern in his previous games that he might let his control get away from him a little bit.
There's Rich Zock, right fielder for Owatonna. High and outside.
Well, he's fighting himself a little bit right now. He's aiming the ball.
Zock had a great opening game in this tournament. He went 3 for 3 against Hopkins with a double and a triple. Hollum trying to regain his control. And there's a strike, 1-1. Don't think Rich Zock was convinced that that was a strike. Steps out.
Well, it was out there on the corner. If it was over, it nipped some of the black, I think.
It's all the 1-1 pitch now to Rich Zock.
Dick, there are a lot of umpires in the major leagues that will really work with a pitcher and give him actually a little bit more of the corners that are actually there if he's around the plate all the time. Conversely, if they don't throw the ball over, they get upset and won't give him anything.
There's a wild pitch, and Springer will go to second base. The ball caroms all the way out near first base. So now Springer is in scoring position. And Hollum is still struggling to get his control back.
It's an easy thing to do, to have that ball in your hand out there in the middle of the field and be looking at these opposing hitters for the state championship title and just not be able to find that release point. It's not pitching is not an easy thing to do, to throw it over 17 inches of plate from 60 feet away.
The count to Rich Zock is 2-1. Again, Owatonna is yet to get a base hit in the game. There's a strike again on that outside corner, and it's 2-2.
And there's an instance where it's vastly different in the umpiring between high school and the major leagues, what we were just talking about. That pitch right there may have been on the corner or just off. If Brett had been around the plate the whole game, he would get that pitch all the time. As wild as he is, I'm surprised that he's getting it called.
Another one gets away from Brad Rasmussen, and now Springer will go to third base on a couple of wild pitches. At least we assume that second one will be called a wild pitch. Tough stop for Brad Rasmussen. He tried to backhand it. And the count is full now to Rich Zock.
I'm not sure that ball hit the dirt. I don't know if he was crossed up on the sign or if he just handcuffed him with a pretty good fastball. It was in a tough spot. He had to backhand it. It looked like it just kind of bounced off his glove. And Brad Rasmussen's not a happy guy right now. I don't know if he's, they had a little meeting. I don't know if he got crossed up on the sign or if he's just mad at himself for not catching that ball. 1 out, runner at third, the tying run at third. And a full count to Rich Zock. To right field, might score the run. Bishop lets it hop and gets past him. Zock will try for 3, and he'll go in with a stand-up triple. Springer scores. We're tied at 1. Dick, he who hesitates is lost, and we had seen Bill Bishop playing in fairly shallow for an outfielder, and obviously with good reason. The ball was not hit hard. He started in on it right away. We'll see the replay. The hitter bloops the ball into right field, and Bishop had started in and then didn't trust his instinct and stopped. Once he allowed the ball to bounce, it's tough on this Metrodome surface to keep the ball in front of you. So now a 1-1 ball game. Zock is at third base, and here's Dan Olson. He's the designated hitter, hitting for the pitcher, Chuck Wiley. Grand Rapids is going to play the infield in here early in the game, knowing they have their work cut out for them, scoring runs off of Chuck Wiley. They feel like they can't allow Owatonna to score any easy runs. They're going to make them work for it.
Hallam has done most of the pitching this year for Grand Rapids, 11-3 on the year, the wins in each of the 2 tournament games. Troy Kuzi would be the next pitcher for Grand Rapids if Hallam continues to struggle with his control. 1-0 pitch. And the ball rolls away from Rasmussen, but no advance. So now the count 1-1. Next hitter would be second baseman Steve Smith. Zock just punched the ball to right field. It landed in front of and skipped past the right fielder, Bill Bishop.
I think that was the play on Bill Bishop's part, was just a unfamiliarity with the AstroTurf and the Metrodome surface. He might even have not seen that ball very well off the bat, and I think that's unfortunate.
One thing I've often wondered about, Roy, and I know you did not play with an aluminum bat in high school, but as a fielder with a wooden bat, you can hear sometimes, I would imagine, how well the ball is hit. But with an aluminum bat, I've often wondered whether the players can tell in the field from the sound of the bat how well the ball is hit.
I don't really know, to tell you the truth, Dick. I would think if you played with aluminum bat all the time, you would start to be able to tell the difference in sounds. But I think one thing that would be very evident would be watching the fielders break back oftentimes on balls, because almost every contact that's made in aluminum bat, the ball travels pretty well. With the wood bat, you hit the ball off the hands, it doesn't, it travels true, not very far. With an aluminum bat, you can hit the ball off the hands and have it travel out there an awful lot farther. So I think that is a big difference too. I think they might be a little bit unsure just exactly how far the ball's hit. I think Jace Reed was unsure in center field.
Big strikeout as Dan Olson goes down on strikes. And there are 2 gone. The 3rd strikeout now for Brett Hallam.
But the most important point, I think, though, is these 2 teams playing all year outside and on natural surfaces, and then play this huge state title game inside on artificial surface. It's really a credit to them that they play as well as they do.
Here's Steve Smith. Bluffs a bunt and takes a ball. Smith followed by the catcher Kirk Keel in the batting order. Grand Rapids got a run in the top of the 2nd inning. Owatonna has answered with a run in the bottom. There's a strike, 1-1.
Nice little breaking ball there. It looks like Brett has got his composure back together and found his control.
Trying to get out of trouble here in the 2nd inning. Line sharply to left field, a base hit. Zock will score, and Smith delivers the go-ahead run with a sharp single to left.
That ball was well hit. It looked like he was a little unsure as he started off the at-bat. He faked a bunt with the runner on 3rd, maybe thinking about bunting the run in. Then took the next pitch like he was taking all the way, and I was wondering, do you see him whacking that ball down the left field line? He didn't. He swung at that ball very aggressively, not at all like the way he started off the at-bat.
So 2 are in. Smith is at first base. Here's Kirk Keel. Got a pretty good hitter to put in that number 9 spot. 322 average. And the ball gets away from Rasmussen, and Smith will go to 2nd. And that one's ruled a pass ball.
If you remember, Dick, as Ole was talking to the Owatonna coach, Dale Tim, before the game, he seemed pretty confident his team's ability to score runs. He likes the way they swing the bat, and he must know whereof he speaks. Having Kurt Keel hitting ninth, hitting .322 with a couple home runs, I think he's very confident in the way these Indians can swing the bat.
Well, Hollum just wants to get out of the second inning here, down 2-1. Facing the number 9 hitter in Kurt Keel. Count is 1-0. There's an off-speed pitch. That might have been the straight change, and it's 1-1. Owatonna still batting in the bottom of the second inning. Fastball high and outside, and it's 2-1. Had a very long first 2 innings, and there is a factor to be considered here. The Twins need this field by mid-afternoon to get ready for their game tonight against the Seattle Mariners. Again, that off-speed pitch appears to be a straight changeup in there for a strike, 2-2.
Straight changeup or a little slider, Dick. It looks like it's got some movement on it, breaking away from the hitter, and it's hard to tell whether he's throwing a straight change with a little movement or if it's actually a breaking ball.
2-2 pitch. Called third strike. Third strikeout in the inning. And fourth in the ball game for Hollum. He escapes the second inning, allowing just 2 runs on 2 hits. No errors, a couple of wild pitches, a pass ball, and 1 left. And after 2, it's Owatonna leading by 1.
If you've always looked to the Far East for small car values, look again. Look to Plymouth Horizon America. At just $59.95, Horizon is one of the best small car values anywhere. With these standard features you might expect to pay extra for. Plus, you get Chrysler's 770 protection plan. So forget the Far East. Look to Plymouth Horizon America, $59.95. Now it really makes sense to buy American. See your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer now.
A great smile is your best asset, but proper dental care can be expensive. Now, thanks to the Consumer Association for Professional Services, CAPS, you can cut your dental costs as much as 50%. CAPS dentists offer reduced fees on a range of dental services, from checkups and cleaning to orthodontal care and dental surgery. You choose the participating dentist you want to visit. If you're uninsured or underinsured, the CAPS plan makes quality dental care affordable. Call CAPS today at 831-2644 for more information, and we'll make sure you're smiling when you get your next dental bill. Pratt & Lambert, creators of the finest paints and stains for deep, rich colors, tough weather-resistant finishes, and wood protection, choose Pratt & Lambert. Consumer Reports rated our exterior latex paint at the top. Pratt & Lambert paints and stains over 900 custom color mixes and new superior latex technology. Available through Warner's True Value Hardware, 66th and Nicollet in Richfield, or Warner Industrial Supply, 2211 East Hennepin Avenue, Minneapolis. Minnesota's largest Pratt & Lambert dealer.
With Roy Smalley and Ole Zupitz downstairs, Dick Bramer from the Metrodome. Owatonna answers with a pair of runs in the second inning. And Grand Rapids hitting in the third inning will send up Brett Hollum, Jace Reed, and Kirk Rubedo. First pitch in there, a strike. So now Wiley pitches with a lead for the first time in this Class AA championship game. Hollum struck out looking his first time. And it's 1-1. Hollum with a home run over the right field wall here at the Metrodome. They say that last year, Pedro Oliva, Tony's son, who was drafted and signed by the Twins last week, hit one into the football press box here last year.
That's quite a blast, and Pedro is a big, strong young man and has a strong swing. I've seen him take some batting practice out here in the Metrodome. He looks like he might be a player. Tough to follow in those huge footsteps.
Yeah, 1-2. And now 2-2.
But Pedro is making some pretty big footsteps of his own, Dick. He's a big kid, big and strong.
Well, he feels that he'll be at the major league level in 3-4 years. line foul outside of third and back into the seats. I think the Twins are quite willing to be more patient with Pedro.
I'm sure they'll give him as much time as it takes. There's no sense in rushing a young player to the big leagues and have him get buried up here. There's no substitute for conquering every level that you play at, so by the time you get to the big leagues, you know you belong.
2-2 pitch, line to left, and a diving grab by Mark Hansen in left field.
What a great catch Mark Hansen made, and a fine play. That ball was slicing away from him. He had to recover, get back to the ball, make a diving catch on this hard Metrodome surface. Here's the line drive. You see, he started to left center and had to come back. If he doesn't catch that ball, that's an awful lot of trouble, but he was up to it. Dan Gladden type of catch in left field.
So the leadoff man is retired as Holland makes a bid for an extra base hit, but Hansen makes a fine play. Here's Jace Reed. Reed walked his first time up. Talking about high school players, highly touted high school players in the context of Pedro Oliva and some players being rushed to the major leagues. It's interesting, the Seattle Mariners have Ken Griffey Jr., who is right now tearing up Class A ball, and there's a lot of movement in Seattle to get him up to the major league level already, and this is just his first year of pro ball.
I think that would be a huge, huge mistake.
Up high, it's 2-1.
I know Kenny Jr. He was in New York with his dad an awful lot of the time when Kenny Sr. and I were teammates with the Yankees, and Kenny Jr. used to play with my son Jeffrey in the halls of Yankee Stadium down underneath the grandstand. Nice kid and a world of talent. But it would be a shame, as well as he's doing, and it would be a shame to rush him up to the major leagues.
3-1 count to Jace Reed. Chop to the left side. Chad Wiley right there, fires it across off the bag, but the tag is made by John Springer.
Nice play by Springer.
Well, Wiley's getting some help from his defense here in the third inning.
He sure is. This Owatonna team looks like they know how to play baseball. Shortstop Mike Nolan made some nice plays in the first inning. Got the great diving catch by Mark Hansen. And then John Springer coming off the bag there at first base. That's a big league type of play, knowing how to come off the bag and tag a runner on an errant throw.
Here's Kirk Ribedo with 2 gone in the third inning. Well, one thing that Pedro Oliva and Ken Griffey Jr. will have to fight, it's a well-known curse that sons of major leaguers never do amount to much.
Well, that's the truth. There's no way they'll ever get to the big leagues anyway.
How long did your dad play? Primarily in the National League, as I remember.
He was
right?
a National Leaguer exclusively. He played 10 years with the Chicago Cubs mostly, and then finished up with the Milwaukee Braves and Philadelphia Phillies. But
and you were in the major leagues for
13.
13, so you outlived him.
And I won't let him hear the end of it either.
3-0 now. The count to Kirk Ribedo. What's your dad doing these days?
He's in business for himself in Los Angeles. Has a commercial building maintenance business, janitorial contracting, and as a matter of fact was just merged with a larger company. So he's doing very well.
3-0 pitch to Kirk Ribedo. In there, a strike.
Doing well enough that now that he's merged, he's got some time. He's not running the show himself all the time. He can come back and see me, see his grandkids a little bit. We'll be looking forward to that.
Ribedo takes high and inside, and he draws a 2-out walk. So we'll keep an eye on Ribedo, see if Bob Streeter sends him to second base on a stolen base attempt. Some aggressive base running in the second inning led to a run. The hitter will be Kevin Persons.
We know Persons can run. He almost beat that 2-hopper to second out in his first at bat. And I would assume that Kirk Ribedo can run. He's a shortstop. Shortstops are supposed to be able to run.
Supposed to. Not all of them do?
Not all of them do. Some of them are imposters at the position for a long time.
How many career stolen bases did you have?
Well, let me count.
Are we going to have to wait long?
Just till I get to about the second or third finger on my other hand here.
Was it 7 or 8?
I don't know. It may not be double figures,
really?
though, Dick. It may not be. And most of those on the back end of double steals, too.
There goes the runner. Called third strike throw.
It's a nice throw.
Not necessary, however. It was a good throw, but the called third strike. A strikeout to Kevin Persons. And Grand Rapids is retired here in the third inning. No runs, no hits, a walk, and 1 left. And after 2.5, it's Owatonna leading by 1.
Have you lost your head?
That's what I'm trying to avoid, my friend.
But, Vince, if we don't belly up to the bullseye, how else can we prove that safety belts save lives?
Oh, it ain't working, Larry. Nobody's listening.
Sure they are. Look at them. They're buckled up.
Hey.
Them, too.
So maybe eating all these dashboard hors d'oeuvres is worth it.
For sure.
Hey, let's head back.
Hey, buddy, I didn't know you knew how to drive.
Drive? Drive?
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt. Every woman knows that a good diet, medical care, and exercise can make you look and feel better. It's a good idea at any age. But there comes a time when taking care of yourself is not just for looks. After age 55, a woman's risk of heart attack triples. Find out what you can do today. Call the American Heart Association.
Owatonna leads it 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the third inning. It'll be the top of the order. Mark Hansen, Mike Nolan, and Chris Urbane to hit for the Owatonna Indians. First pitch fouled back down below us. Brett Hollum had no trouble at all with the first 4 hitters for Owatonna. Set down the first 4 men he faced. Then started getting behind hitters. He walked John Springer with 1 out in the second, and that was really the start of trouble for him. A triple followed by a single, accounting for the 2 runs for Owatonna. And that one's chopped. Nice backhanded play by Persons. His throw not in time. Good play by Kevin Persons. But Hansen's on with a leadoff infield hit.
That was a good play by Persons. Tough to get yourself stopped when you're running that hard away from the ball. Made a nice play to catch it, to catch up to the ball and get it in his glove, as we'll see. Bouncing ball over the mound. He makes a nice play. Hard to get yourself stopped and get your momentum back to throw to first base. Looks like Mark Hansen runs pretty well. It's just a case of too much legs.
Here's Mike Nolan, who lined out to center field his first time up. Big swing and a miss at the off-speed breaking ball, and it's 0-1.
Dick, Owatonna looks very much more aggressive with the bat this time around than they did in the first couple innings.
Squares around to bunt, throw to first, and Hansen gets back.
And I wonder if it was nervousness. Obviously, they can swing the bat well. Their averages bear it out. The coach told us before the game that he likes the way they swing the bat. So I wonder if it was nervousness at the beginning of the game, a little bit tight, that they look so tentative, or if Hollum's struggle with his control kind of pumped him up and gave him a little bit of a boost there.
There goes the runner, throw to second, not in time. A stolen base for Mark Hansen. The pitch was a called strike. It's 1-2 now to Mike Nolan.
Runner on second base and nobody out. Here's an ideal situation for the second hitter to try to move that runner over to third. They've got a 2-1 lead with their best pitcher on the mound. Another run here would be very big, so they ought to be thinking about getting 1 run here rather than 3 or 4. 3 or 4 would be nice, but Brett Holland's a good pitcher in his own right, and you take 1 run at a time against the real good pitchers. If he can get into third with 1 out.
Working the outside corner, he misses. It's 2-2.
They can score from third 8 or 9 ways without getting a base hit against a pitcher like Holland. That should be the goal.
We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning in a 2-1 ball game with Owatonna leading. Up high, now it's a full count. Grand Rapids with 1 run on 2 hits. No errors. Owatonna a couple of runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. And a walk. So now the first 2 hitters have reached here in the 3rd inning. Runners at first and second, no one out. And Chris Urbane comes to the plate. Gonna look at Mike Nolan at first base. Urbane flied out to center field his first time.
Chris has got a good swing. He just got under the ball that hit to center field the first time up.
Grand Rapids expecting a bunt here, and a wild pitch will move the runners up.
I don't think that Owatonna will opt for the bunt. I don't think they would have with runners on first and second, nobody out, and the 3rd hitter who hit .613 on the year. I don't think they would be bunting there. I think Coach Dale Tim wants to get Chris Urbane a chance to drive in both of those runs.
Right now, Grand Rapids coach Bob Streeter is out to chat with his young pitcher.
And we see Dale Tim talking to Chris Urbane. I think the only conversation right now between those two would be Coach Tim telling his best hitter, look, you're going to get this guy, but you got to get a good ball to hit. Don't be too anxious. He's had a little trouble with his control. You make him get the ball in the strike zone where you like it and go to Whalen. There's 2 runners out there that you can bring in for us.
Hollum has walked 2, given up 3 hits. Now has runners at second and third, no one out, bottom of the 3rd. There's a strike on the outside corner. It's 1-1. And I don't think Chris Urbane is convinced.
This is a real big gamble right here, playing the infield in, Dick, with nobody out and a runner on second base as well as third.
Slapped foul. It's 1-2 now.
I understand the temptation not to want to give Chuck Wiley another run to work with, but if you give him 2 more by drawing the infield in and a normally routine ground ball finds its way through there, a 3-run deficit is going to look huge.
Hollum needs a strikeout here. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Got him.
And he got it.
Good fastball. And that is the 5th strikeout for Hollum. He struck out the side in the 2nd inning, so he has struck out the last 4 outs. Dale Tim hoping that his cleanup hitter, Chad Wiley, can come up with a big hit here. And on the outside corner.
Here's a situation right here, Dick, with Chad Wiley, who's a very, very good hitter, their 4th hitter, big RBI man. Brett wants to pitch him carefully. If he walks him, it's okay. You got a double play situation set up. And that's a balk. It wasn't called. It wasn't called, but he made a little bit of a move toward home plate there. I don't think Ken Kaiser in the American League would have let him get by with that.
Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Well, one thing I think we've seen here the second time around with some of these Owatonna hitters are not too happy with the strike zone. They're swinging at some bad pitches. I think they're thinking that just about anything close is going to be called, and they maybe can't wait for that one right down the middle. Strike 3 got him. First base is open, so the tag will have to be made, and there are 2 gone.
And Brett Hollum is really rising to the occasion. He was faced with nobody out and runners on second and third with the 2 best hitters on the Owatonna team coming up and struck them both out. He's 1 out away from getting out of a huge jam.
Well, he got out of a jam in the second inning, allowing just 2 runs to score. Left another runner in scoring position. He struck out the side again in the second inning, and now he's struck out the last 5 outs. Here's John Springer. Up high a ball. Springer walked to start things in the second inning.
The way Brett is pitching reminds me of a statement that my uncle Gene Mock made one time, that if good pitchers would pitch as hard to get out of trouble, as hard to start the inning as they do to get out of trouble, they'd never be in trouble to begin with.
Yeah. Fouled at the plate, and it's 1-1.
And he said it better than I did, but the point is, if they would pitch as hard to stay out of trouble as they do when they're in trouble, they wouldn't get in trouble to begin with. And that's certainly been the way Brett has pitched. When the chips have been on the line, boy, he's really borne down and pitched his best baseball.
It'll be a big lift for him and the whole team if he can leave those runners stranded at second and third. 1-1 the count. And now 1-2.
I think you're absolutely right, Dick. I think the Owatonna hitters are anxious at the plate. I think they're a little bit unsure of the home plate umpire strike zone. I know Chris Urbane got a little rattled. He got a second strike called on him that he really didn't like at all, and then swung at a bad pitch for strike 3, and can't let the umpire get to you.
Tried to steal the inside corner there with a fastball, but missed, and now it's 2-2. First base is open, but pretty hot hitter in Rich Zock is scheduled up next. And now it's a full count. You can see Hollum rather, looking into the Grand Rapids dugout.
Well, I sure wouldn't give in to the hitter here. I'd throw one off the plate and hope he swung at it.
That's exactly what he did.
Or high.
3 strikeouts to close out the inning. 7 strikeouts for Hollum. He gives up a leadoff single, stolen base, a wild pitch, and a walk to put runners at second and third with no one out, and he strikes out the next 3, and still a 1-run ball game.
It's time to visit one of the world's great garden spots. The Lawn and Garden Department at your local True Value hardware store, where this HomeLight dual-line gas trimmer is just $79.88. It handles big jobs and goes anywhere. And Green Thumb cordless electric grass shears are just $24.88 with a recharger. Then get this Black & Decker electric hedge trimmer. It cuts in either direction, and it's just $36.99. At participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Is your living room less than comfortable? Why settle for ugly old furniture when you could afford to decorate your living room with furniture like this? At Quality Furniture Rental, you can lease or rent to own from a wide selection of beautiful new furniture. Whether you need a spare bed or you've just moved and your decorating budget is tight, Quality Furniture Rental has furnishings for every room in your home. The latest VCRs, TVs, and stereos, even office furniture, all at surprisingly affordable prices. Don't settle for less. Get what you need now at Quality Furniture Rental, Bloomington and St. Paul.
We are the dummies crashing on through, busting our heads just for you.
My name is Vince. This job makes me sore. If you'd buckle up, I wouldn't do it no more.
They call me Larry. I'm a dummy too. When you don't buckle up, the dummy is you. Buckle that belt.
These are professional dummies. Do not attempt this at home.
Buckle that, buckle that, buckle that belt. We got one thing to say, and we know we're not wrong. When you go for a ride, put your safety belt on.
Back at the Metrodome. We're going to the 4th inning in a 2-1 ball game.
You suppose she has Big Brother playing in this ball game?
A lot of fans here making the trip from Owatonna and Grand Rapids. And the first 2 pitches are in there for strikes. Chuck Wiley has come out strong here to start the 4th inning. Again, the first time in this AA championship game that 2 out-state teams have met. Off the fists, a roller foul. Barry Peralt stays alive. Peralt fly to left his first time. Grand Rapids getting its run in the 2nd inning. There's a chopper to the left side. Chad Wiley can't field it. And the leadoff man is on. We understand we have some audio trouble, but the leadoff man is on here in the 4th inning. And they will give, I believe, Peralt a base hit. So an infield single for Barry Peralt to start the 4th inning. That will bring up Scott Munger. Munger walked and scored the only run of the game for Grand Rapids. So the tying run is on. Munger ducks out of the way of a breaking pitch. It's ball 1. You mentioned your uncle Gene Mauch. How's he doing?
He's doing fine. He's enjoying himself, playing a lot of golf in the Palm Springs area.
Keep reading where some people think he might manage again, that he's not really retired.
I wouldn't be surprised with Gene either way.
Big swing and a miss. It's 1-1.
I don't think he'll come back and manage the Angels. Let's put it that way. I think he saw this particular season that the Angels are having coming.
Yeah. But no health problems. There was a serious scare in spring training.
It was a serious scare. We were all concerned about his health, but it was fortunately a false alarm.
1-1 pitch, and it's 1-2. Munger will be followed by the leadoff man, Troy Kuzy. Chuck Wiley has given up 3 hits, which is as many as Owatonna has given up in the first 2 games of the tournament. Just missing the outside corner, and it goes to 2-2.
Wiley giving Munger a steady diet of fastballs here. And I would think would stay with it until he shows him he's going to have better success against it.
Fouled back, and Munger stays alive. Grand Rapids has had a base runner on in every inning so far. In fact, they've left 6 men on base through 3 innings, so they have had some opportunities, but so far have cashed in just once.
I would think by now they're starting to feel pretty confident. They've stayed right with Owatonna and Chuck Wiley. Brett Holland pitching his way out of a couple of tough jams.
Did he hold up? No. Strike 3. He's gone. Munger strikes out. That is the 4th strikeout for Chuck Wiley.
But they got their leadoff man on here in the 4th inning. And even though Munger struck out, they have the top of the order up. After getting a big boost by Holland pitching out of that jam, I think they have to be feeling pretty confident right now. As confident as you can against a guy like Chuck Wiley.
Troy Kuzy, RBI single, his 2nd time up. Strike 1. Kuzy grounded out in the 1st, then bounced a single up the middle in the 2nd inning that scored Scott Munger. Get a look at Barry Peralt, first baseman, being held at first by John Springer. It's 1-1. And catcher Kirk Keel and home plate umpire Mike Bedoin having a bit of a chat.
As I think Brad Rasmussen has in previous innings. I think they're having a little trouble figuring out the umpire strike zone. Neither team has appeared particularly happy.
2-1 count. Peralt still at first. And now 3-1.
Troy Cousy, the freshman, was up there squaring the bunt on the first pitch with 1 out. So Coach Bob Streeter going to play for just the 1 run from hopefully from his second hitter. I'd be surprised if he doesn't have him taken here.
And the 5th walk given up by Chuck Wiley puts runners at first and second with only 1 out, and that will bring up Bill Bishop. Bishop has been on base twice already today. He reached on an error in the first inning and bounced a single up the middle in the second. The 3 hits that Grand Rapids has have all been ground ball singles. They've not hit many line drives at all. The best hit ball of the afternoon was caught by left fielder Mark Hansen on a diving play off the bat of Brett Hollum. Ball 1 to Bill Bishop.
And it's as we mentioned earlier, Dick, that when you have pitchers of this caliber going, the game is likely to hinge on walks and misplays in the field.
There's a curve for a strike. It's 1-1. No, I think this is a big inning for Grand Rapids. As we mentioned, they've already left 6 men on base through 3 innings. Now they've got 2 more out there and 1 out. Bishop, the number 2 hitter, takes a ball. It's 2-1.
And the feeling that the momentum is in their favor. If they fail to capitalize here, when they've got the momentum, they have the opportunity against a difficult pitcher, then it's got to be a little bit deflating for them. They really want to get something going right now.
2-1 pitch. Curveball in there for a strike. It's 2-2. At least this inning, it appears that Wiley has better control of his curve than he does his fastball.
Well, I've been surprised all along after hearing Chuck talk about his game plan and how many breaking balls he's thrown anyway.
There's a fastball below the knees, and Bishop goes after it and misses.
Well, Chuck is also rising to the occasion there. He got himself in a little bit of trouble, but he pitched Bishop extremely well. Second strike with a slow, big breaking curveball, put that in his mind, and then blew a fastball by him.
So 2 gone, and Brad Rasmussen comes to the plate.
There again, Dick, the key for any pitcher, but especially a guy with good stuff, is to throw strikes. Good stuff doesn't do any good if it's out of the strike zone.
Fly ball left field. Hansen now ranges over and grabs it. And Grand Rapids leaves 2 more on. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. They've left 8 on through 3.5 innings and trail by 1.
Attention sports fans. Nick's Sports World is your headquarters for world champion Minnesota Twins souvenirs. Stop by before or after any Twins home game and see the largest selection of Twins souvenirs. Register to win Twins home game tickets every time you visit Nick's Sports World. After every Twins home victory, pick up your free rally rag with any purchase. Nick's also carries Timberwolves merchandise, including hats, shirts, jackets, and sweatshirts. So stop by Nick's Sports World on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 7th Street, just 5 blocks from the Dome, for the largest selection of Twins souvenirs. Pratt & Lambert, creators of the finest paints and stains. For deep, rich colors, tough weather-resistant finishes, and wood protection, choose Pratt & Lambert. Consumer Reports rated our exterior latex paint at the top. Pratt & Lambert paints and stains, over 900 custom color mixes, and new superior latex technology. Available through Warner's True Value Hardware, 66th and Nicollet in Richfield, or Warner Industrial Supply, 2211 East Hennepin Avenue, Minneapolis. Minnesota's largest Pratt & Lambert dealer. A great smile is your best asset, but proper dental care can be expensive. Now, thanks to the Consumer Association for Professional Services, CAPS, you can cut your dental costs as much as 50%. CAPS dentists offer reduced fees on a range of dental services, from checkups and cleaning to orthodontal care and dental surgery. You choose the participating dentist you want to visit. If you're uninsured or underinsured, the CAPS plan makes quality dental care affordable. Call CAPS today at 831-2644 for more information, and we'll make sure you're smiling when you get your next dental bill.
We have a very special guest here between innings. Kent Herbeck, of course, and the Minnesota Twins. Kent, you guys have it going pretty well with your club right now.
We're playing pretty good baseball, especially the last couple of weeks. We've been really playing good baseball. I think it's probably the best baseball we've played in the last couple of years. I don't think we played this good last year. The pitching's done a super job right now, and the guys are starting to hit the ball well.
We've got an old teammate of yours upstairs, Roy Smalley. You caught him last night.
I listened the other night, Roy. Did a great job. You and Dick up there did a pretty good job working, and hopefully you can stick with it, Roy, and maybe find Dick a job up there, too.
You know something about state tournaments. You played in one of Bloomington Kennedy. How about this pitching tonight that you're seeing this afternoon? This Wiley kid throws pretty hard.
The kid from Owatonna can throw the ball. I was just watching in the runway, and he throws the ball real well. And the kid for Grand Rapids also throwing the ball good. But it's gonna take a big inning for somebody to win it. It's 2-1 right now, and it's going to be a dogfight. Looks like it.
Any predictions, Kent?
I'm pulling for Grand Rapids because I'm on their side right now. They're in the home dugout.
Okay, that's Kent Herbeck. We're wishing the Twins good luck. We'll talk to you later, Kent.
All right.
Rich Zock drills one to the corner in left field and leads off this fourth inning for Owatonna with a stand-up double. Zock, who tripled in a run in the second inning, jumped all over that pitch and drove it hard into the corner and left. That's one of the hardest balls we've seen hit here, Roy.
That was a real good, solid swing at that pitch. He had a good swing, got the big end of that bat on the ball, drove it hard down the left field line. Good swing.
So a leadoff double for Rich Zock. That brings up Dan Olson. Olson again, the DH. You like the DH rule in high school?
No, I don't. I don't like the DH rule for kids. There are two ways to look at it. It gives another kid a chance to get in the game when he might not under other circumstances. But I like to see kids learn how to play the game completely when they're just learning, and they are learning at this stage.
Curveball in there, a strike, and I think
the DH is for old guys like me.
Rasmussen might have been crossed up on that pitch from Hollum. Fouled back, and it's 0-2. Well, do you like the DH rule period at the major league level?
I do like the DH rule at the major league level because at that level, the guys have been playing an awful long time and have really decided who can play defense and who can hit. And one thing that we know for sure.
Big swing and a miss by Olson. The 8th strikeout now for Brett Hollum.
One thing we know for sure is that pitchers can't hit, with the exception of Rick Rhoden and Danny Schatzeder and a couple guys. I would substitute the ability to watch a manager make the double switch and do some early in the game bunting and pinch hitting. I'll pass on that just so I don't have to watch pitchers ever take that horrible hack at a baseball.
Steve Smith, who singled in a run his first time up, sends a fly ball to right. Bishop comes in a few steps. He's there. The runner bluffs a tag and will not go. 2 gone here in the 4th inning.
Well, here we go again with Brett Hollum. He starts out shakily, giving up a ringing double to Rich Zock, and then comes back strong with a strikeout and a pop fly.
Hollum had struck out the side in the 2nd and 3rd innings and struck out the first out here in the 4th. So he had 7 outs consecutively were strikeouts until the fly ball to right field. Now 2 gone. Zock still at second, and here's Kurt Keel.
What was Herbeck doing at the ballpark at 2:15?
I say, when you played with him, he never showed up till about 5:30, did he? First pitch in there, a strike.
Jeannie must have kicked him out of the house. Isn't it time for you to go to work yet?
That's right. They had an off day on Thursday, and she probably had got enough of him on Thursday.
Self-proclaimed big man in the Twins lineup.
0-1 pitch, and now it's 0-2.
Emphasis on the word big.
And former horse owner.
I'll tell you what, his horse is just glad that he's the owner, not the jockey. I complained to Jim Wiesner when we got our new striped uniforms last year that I was cheated because Herbeck's uniform had 21 more pinstripes in it than mine did. Oh, there's a good move by Holland. He's got to give the ball to a guy that can handle it, though.
And the tag out made, a pickoff, as Zock is caught off second base, and Holland faces the minimum number of hitters here. A leadoff double by Zock, but Holland gets out of it. Nothing across, and after 4, it's Owatonna leading by 1.
Take an amazing voyage through Plymouth Grand Voyager and discover why the pride's inside. Beyond the versatility and front-wheel drive, past the powerful fuel-injected V6 engine, the best protection and highest owner satisfaction of any minivan. The pride's inside before you're inside.
See your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer now.
No matter what size painting project you're planning, you can count on True Test paint from True Value hardware stores. For decorator color that fits your home, from country pastels to high-tech brights, trust the spatter-resistant formulas of Easy Care latex paint. A velvety flat finish starts at just $9.98 a gallon, and scrubbable flat enamel and semi-gloss start at only $12.98 a gallon. You'll find True Test paint exclusively at participating True Value hardware stores.
We'd like to invite you on a trip to the country, our country. We're going to show you a family entertainment network different from anything you've ever seen before. The Nashville Network is the country's only place for family entertainment that is exciting, informative, nostalgic, and exhilarating. Take a trip to the Nashville Network, America's country home.
On our way to the 5th inning, Brett Holland will lead it off as Grand Rapids trails by a run. First pitch in there, a strike. Chuck Wiley has not set the side down in order yet in any of the 4 innings. He'll face Holland, Reed, and Rubedo here in the 5th inning. 3 more cracks for Grand Rapids in a 1-run ball game. They got the first run of the game on the top of the 2nd. Owatonna came back with a pair. Holland hit the hardest ball of the afternoon for Grand Rapids his last time up, a slicing line drive that Mark Hansen made a diving grab of in left field. Fouled back, it's 1-2.
And Holland, after striking out looking the first time up, is not getting cheated his next 2 times. As you mentioned, he hit the hardest ball of the day that Hansen made the circus catch on in left field, and has now had a couple of pretty good rips at Chuck Wiley fastballs this time up.
Did he hold up? No. Strike 3, he's gone. Second time that Holland has struck out. 1 gone here in the 5th inning, and that will bring up Jace Reed. Reed, tall guy at 6'3", 190 pounds.
What great size on Jace Reed. 6'3", 190, plays center field, so he obviously runs well. Great athletic body.
Ball 1.
What I wouldn't have given for that kind of size in high school, Dick. What I wouldn't give for that kind of size now.
You weren't big in high school?
I was about 6 feet tall and weighed about 155 pounds. I was a rail.
That's a strike, 1-1. How instrumental was high school ball for your development as a major leaguer later on?
I don't think any major league player would be able to say that high school wasn't a big part of his athletic development. It really is a wonderful program. And
how did they work it in California? Did you have play high school ball through the summer, or was there a summer league that you could also play on?
There were summer leagues. We only played high school ball during the school year.
Spring or fall?
In the spring, and then when school was over, there were other youth baseball programs like there are in Minnesota. Very similar. But the high school program is really where you grow up into the concept of a team effort, playing with some good players where you really are trying to win games. And I think it's important in youth baseball before the high school level to de-emphasize winning and emphasize having fun and playing the game correctly. But there comes a time when everybody has to try and pull together as a team for a common goal, and high school is really where you can do that on a well-coached level, and I think that's a great starting place. And you can see it in these two teams here today. Very well-coached teams, very disciplined. They play the game crisply and enthusiastically. It's good to see.
First pitch to Kirk Ribedo is fouled back off the mask of catcher Kurt Keel. Ribedo has struck out and walked.
You know what's really fun to watch, Dick, is we have seen pitchers dominate a lot of these championship games that we've seen in the tournament, but they're not just pitching out there. They're playing some good defense. We've seen good shortstop play. We've seen the diving catch in the outfield. We've seen catchers with some good arms. It's been very gratifying to see the caliber of play here in the Minnesota State High School tournament. These two teams especially are very solid. And it's not just Chuck Wiley and Brett Hollum that are standouts.
The count to Kirk Ribedo now 2-1. For Chuck Wiley, 6 strikeouts, but also 6 walks. Similar to the effort by twin brother Chad yesterday when he struck out 11 but walked 10. There's a strike, 2-2. Ribedo will be followed by Kevin Persons.
There was kind of a classic hit and run count, Dick. 2-1 and 1 out with the guy that he's going to go on 2-2.
Strike 3, throw to second, not in time. So the 7th strikeout for Chuck Wiley. But on the pitch to the plate, Jace Reed steals second base.
I thought that Coach Streeter might have started Jace Reed on the 2-1 count. Ribedo had seen 3 pitches. He's a .443 hitter on the season, so you know he can make contact with that ball. Thought he might get him started 2-1.
Bob Streeter comes out to the third base coaching box, hoping to be able to give Jace Reed the green light. Send him around for the tying run. First pitch to Persons, fouled back into the seats. It's a lot of work for having to throw the ball back when you finally get it.
That risk-reward ratio is not exactly what you'd like to have, is it, Dick?
1 strike pitch. Down low a bit. It's 1-1.
You only get to exult in the fruits of your victory for a couple seconds before you have to ante back up.
We're in the top of the 5th inning. Grand Rapids trailing by 1. There's a strike. It's 1-2. And now Chuck Wiley is 1 pitch away from striking out the side in the 5th. Just missing the outside corner, 2-2.
And he's still throwing hard, Dick. Chuck's got a good live arm. And as Kent Herbeck mentioned, it's interesting to hear Kent talk about being down on the field level and being impressed by Chuck Wiley's fastball. A little bit different watching it from down there than it is up here.
Late on the fastball, and Persons strikes out. Wiley has now struck out 6 of the last 7 outs. He strikes out the side here in the 5th inning. No damage done despite the 1-out walk, and after 4.5, Owatonna still clinging to a 1-run lead.
If you've always looked to the Far East for small car values, look again. Look to Plymouth Horizon America. At just $59.95, Horizon is one of the best small car values anywhere. With these standard features you might expect to pay extra for. Plus, you get Chrysler's 770 protection plan. So forget the Far East. Look to Plymouth Horizon America, $59.95. Now it really makes sense to buy American. See your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer now.
Middle off the pitcher. Persons throws to Peralt. He can't handle the throw, and Brett Hollum is hobbling. A line shot right up the middle that appeared to hit Hollum on the leg, maybe around the ankle. The ball deflected to Kevin Persons, whose throw to Peralt tipped off his glove. So the leadoff man is on here in the 5th inning. Oh boy, if that caught him right on the ankle bone, that's got to hurt.
Dick, that was a shot. Hollum had no chance to get out of the way of that ball. And getting out of the way is all he could do. Of course, had no chance to get his glove on it. That ball was rocketed right back at him, and it looks like it hit him between the ankle and the knee, someplace on the right leg. Well, I'd be really surprised if he could continue to pitch. You have to be very, very careful in a situation like this where a pitcher's hurting that bad in his legs that he doesn't alter his motion and hurt his arm.
Well, not that it would be much consolation to him on the other leg, but that's his push-off leg, too, and he's got to put a lot of pressure on that right leg and pushing off the rubber. And apparently he's going to try to stay in the ball game. He'll get a couple of warm-up tosses here. But that has really got to sting.
Well, we were talking earlier about how both pitchers have good mechanics, and what good mechanics on the mound means is that they have good leg action, good leg drive, and they derive all their power to be able to throw that ball that hard with their leg drive off the mound. And you're right, the right leg is the push-off leg. Would not be any consolation if we're on his left leg because he has to land on that one after pushing off hard. Either way, if you're hurting in your legs, it's hard to be effective. I wonder if he could get a helmet on.
Never thought of that. So it's ruled a base hit by Kurt Keel, I believe. Or did they rule? No, they gave, I believe they charged an error. Oh! And he's hit by the pitch. Mark Hansen will go to first base. And that might be a situation where, again, the injury to Hollum certainly must affect his throwing. And
I don't think there's any question about it. Hollum has his mind on the pain in his leg, and rightfully so. He's favoring his leg and just is not going to be able to throw the ball with any degree of efficiency until that pain subsides a little bit.
Well, I think what Bob Streeter is saying is that Hansen should be ejected from the game for slamming his helmet down. Immediately after being hit, Hansen slammed his helmet down, and it caromed 2/3 of the way to first base.
And didn't Coach Streeter get his catcher ejected for throwing his bat earlier?
Throwing a bat in the second game, right? And I'm sure that's exactly what he's saying, is a turnabout is fair play.
He obviously has a point. It's no fun to get hit by a pitch, especially near the head area, but I'm sure Mark Hansen would understand that Brett Hollum can ill afford to put another guy on base. He certainly wasn't throwing at him.
Nobody out in the 5th, 2 runners on, and Mike Nolan will be the hitter. Yeah, one thing, we've had some interesting games here in the 2 games that you and I have done. The game the other night, we had a rule interpretation clarified because the game went past midnight. Low and outside, ball 1.
Dick, I'm really surprised that they're not bunting here in this situation.
Well, Barry
Grand Rapids.
Peralt, the first baseman for Grand Rapids, is in at first base expecting a bunt.
Grand Rapids certainly thinks they will. And with nobody out and 2 runners on and the 3, 4, 5 hitters coming up next, I would think it'd be a pretty good play.
Driven to left center field. Jace Reed with a long run. This one is off the wall. The runner at second had to hold. The ball caroms back to short center. 2 runs will score. And Mike Nolan bangs one off the wall in deep left center field, driving in 2.
Well, so much for by-the-book baseball.
That ball was almost knocked out of the park.
Mike Nolan just crashed that ball off the left center, the base of the left center field fence. And give credit to Coach Dale Tim for knowing he was going to do it.
Yeah, who needs to bunt when a guy's going to hit one about 400 feet? Well, that certainly changes things. Now it's a 4-1 ball game. Again, the runner at second base, Kurt Keel, had to hold up, thinking that possibility that that ball might be caught. So the runners were about 7 feet apart from each other as they circled the bases. Keel scored, Hansen scored, Nolan's at third. Here's Chris Urbane. Curve in there, a strike.
Here's an interesting situation, Dick. In the big leagues with nobody out and a runner on third base, the middle of the infield, the shortstop and the second baseman will come in, but not all the way in, as these guys are doing now.
Popped up, foul ground, might be a play. Rasmussen coming over, and he couldn't get it.
Rasmussen having to contend with the grandstand wall back here, which I'm sure is not something high school players are used to, having this much room between the backstop and home plate. He's fighting the tough visibility and under the dome here. A run back to a grandstand wall that he's not used to, and all of the Owatonna people screaming at him when he got back here close to the stands. Tough play for a high school catcher. But I was mentioning, with nobody out, the third base coach will not risk gambling sending the runner on third unless the ball gets through. So the infield normally plays about halfway and not all the way in, so they can cover more ground, knowing that the runner's going to make the ball go through before he comes into the score. With 1 out, it's a different story. There's 1 out's the gambling out, so the infield will play all the way in, figuring the runner's going to go on any ground ball hit.
0-2 pitch to Urbane is outside, 1-2. Mike Nolan, 5'11", 150 pounds, smoked one to left center field. Chopped foul at the plate. Urbane stays alive at 1-2. A little guy, 150 pounds, hit one about 400 feet to break the game open a bit here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Urbane, the hottest hitter on the team. 1-2 pitch in the dirt, and a good stop by Rasmussen.
Excellent play. Coach Rick Stelmasic would have been very, very proud of Rasmussen in that play. Shifted his feet out, gotten his body in front of the ball.
Ball hit in the middle of the left-handed batter's box, and Rasmussen kept the runner at third. Now the count is 2-2. And a full count. Still nobody out here in the 5th inning, and Brett Holm is really struggling. He has not, at least visibly, favored that right leg after taking a line shot to start the inning. But you wonder whether that's affected his pitching here. Ball 4.
Well, he hasn't been limping or anything, Dick, but I'll tell you, he came back after getting blasted off his most important leg, as you mentioned. The most important leg in pitching is his push-off leg, and then hit the next batter and gave up a 400-foot shot to left center. I think that it had to be affecting him.
Well, Streeter will come out and talk with him. Again, the number 2 pitcher on this team would be third baseman Troy Kuzi. But Streeter will leave Hollum in there. It's a 4-1 ball game. Owatonna out hitting Grand Rapids 5-3. And they've gotten some big extra base hits. A triple that scored a run in the second inning. Also got a double in the fourth, and then the big triple here in the fifth that scored 2 of them.
I think the mistake that was made here with Brett Hollum is not taking enough time to make sure that pain subsided and he got his mind and his attention focused back on the job at hand. He got up and was obviously in pain. It was a rocket that he took off his right shin and threw one more pitch and was ready to go again.
Chad Wiley squares to bunt, throw to second is cut off by the pitcher, and a stolen base for Chris Urbane. Urbane got a good jump. Runners now at second and third. The pitch was a ball, so Wiley, the cleanup hitter, who has struck out twice, will have a chance to make a dent here in the fifth inning. Curve hits the corner. It's 1-1. Owatonna leading by 3. Grand Rapids has 2 at-bats left. Hollum with a fastball, and Chad Wiley right on top of it, and he fouled it back.
Good swing by Wiley. He's an aggressive swinger. He steps away just a little bit. Looks like he wants the ball inside. If you'll notice, he really crowds the plate. He's right up on top of the plate, which means he wants the ball close to him. He wants it in there where he can pull the ball to left field. Wasn't happy with that outside curveball that was called a strike.
Got him. Big strikeout. No tag was made, so the throw has to be made.
Plate.
Nobody's covering the plate, and he is safe. Now the runner goes to third, and he is in there. Well, a strange play. A bobbled third strike by Brad Rasmussen. He could not make the tag, so then he ran out of the catcher's box to make the throw to first. No one was covering home. And a big insurance run for Owatonna.
And a great hustling play by the runner at third base. That's really heads-up baseball, to be aware of the situation there, seeing the catcher leave his position and getting down the line far enough to be able to beat him back to the plate, beat the catcher back to the plate.
Fouled back near the press box level. And it's strike 1. Well, Hollum thought he had gotten a big out in striking out the cleanup hitter Chad Wiley for the 3rd time. Instead, 1 run scores and another runner moves up to third base. Don't see that play very often, Roy, but I suppose a situation like that, the pitcher has to almost hustle in and try to cover the plate.
Well, if there were nobody on second, you'd want to see the third baseman charging in there too. He's actually the guy you'd like to see handle the ball. I'm sure he was thinking he had to stay close to third because of that runner on second, but somebody's got to be there.
Curve in there for a strike.
But you're right, whenever there's a runner on third base and the pitcher throws the ball in the dirt, he's got to get started toward the plate in case the ball gets by. And as we've seen, even if it stays out in front, if the catcher has to do something else.
Down in the dirt, and a good stop by Rasmussen.
I'm sure Brett Hollum doesn't feel like charging into the plate on that bad right leg.
Been a long inning for Hollum and Grand Rapids Indians. Now the scoreboard reads 1-1. I believe the count is 1-2. And that's what home plate umpire Mike Bedoin signals now. Fly ball deep right field. Bishop with a long run. He won't get there. Another extra base hit for Owatonna. And a triple for John Springer. 3 triples in the ball game.
Brett Hollum got a breaking ball up in the strike zone there. Dick, I think he's thrown a lot of pitches. He's tired. His leg hurts. He just can't be effective bearing down, getting the ball down where he wants to under these conditions now. I hate to see a guy that's pitched as gutty a performance as he has today get knocked around a little bit because due to circumstances beyond his control. But he got the ball up in the strike zone, and Springer hit it just exactly where you'd like to hit it when you get a pitch like that.
See an example of Bishop's inexperience at playing in a dome stadium, which is certainly understandable. Got twisted around a little bit on that fly ball. So Springer gets the third triple of the afternoon for Owatonna, driving in another run. Popped up to the infield. Should be the second out. Hollum, the pitcher, makes the play.
Bill Bishop should not feel bad about being just a little bit disoriented in the outfield here in the Metrodome. I've seen Major League players look quite a bit worse. Looked like they were playing junior high school baseball out there. Greg Gagne, as a matter of fact, took advantage of poor Darrell Boston with the Chicago White Sox to the tune of 2 inside the park home runs in one game.
The worst I ever saw was a guy you played with the Yankees, Lou Piniella. First couple of years he was out here in left field, and it was an adventure. Lou didn't win any Gold Gloves to begin with, but
I was a teammate of Lou's on those Yankee teams when he would come in here and couldn't wait to. He didn't know exactly how to feel about playing here. He loved hitting here, but couldn't stand going out on the field. The only question was whether he was going to knock in more than he let in.
2-0 the count to Dan Olson. Owatonna exploding for 4 runs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a 6-1 ball game. There's a strike. Olson has struck out twice. Getting the strikeouts has not been Hollum's problem. Count goes to 2-2. Really think that if this game holds up, or this lead holds up, called third strike, Olson strikes out for the 3rd time. We may look back at the opening play of this inning. The line shot up the middle as being a major factor in this 4-run 5th inning for Owatonna. They lead it 6-1.
It's bound to happen. Once in a while, we'll lose a viewer or two, even though our audience loves to watch their music. Hit music. They have other things to attend to. VH1, the other music television. We've got exactly what you're looking for, even if you're not watching.
Attention sports fans. Nick's Sports World is your headquarters for world champion Minnesota Twins souvenirs. Stop by before or after any Twins home game and see the largest selection of Twins souvenirs. Register to win Twins home game tickets every time you visit Nick's Sports World. After every Twins home victory, pick up your free rally rag with any purchase. Nick's also carries Timberwolves merchandise, including hats, shirts, jackets, and sweatshirts. So stop by Nick's Sports World on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 7th Street, just 5 blocks from the Dome, for the largest selection of Twins souvenirs. Pratt & Lambert, creators of the finest paints and stains. For deep, rich colors, tough weather-resistant finishes, and wood protection, choose Pratt & Lambert. Consumer Reports rated our exterior latex paint at the top. Pratt & Lambert paints and stains, over 900 custom color mixes, and new superior latex technology. Available through Warner's True Value Hardware, 66th and Nicollet in Richfield, or Warner Industrial Supply, 2211 East Hennepin Avenue, Minneapolis. Minnesota's largest Pratt & Lambert dealer.
Go to the 6th inning on the first pitch. Perrault is retired. A little tapper back to the mound. Ole Zupitz is downstairs. Ole, what you got?
We're with the more relaxed Dale. Tim, Dale, you kids had a big inning the last half of the 5th there.
Well, I'm not more relaxed, but it feels good to get ahead by a few runs. That 2-1 lead did not feel very secure to me.
You're a little prophetic. At the start of the game, you told me off camera that your kids were going to get some hits, were going to get some runs, and it'd be up to Rapids to stay with you. You've been right.
Well, it took a while for us to do it. The pitcher was tough. He got a little wild. We left a lot of men on base at first, but we were able to cash in on this inning.
We'll get back to the action, Dale. We may see you in the postgame.
Very good.
Back up to Dick and Roy.
All right, thank you. Only one gone in the top of the 6th inning. Scott Munger is the hitter. Munger takes a strike. Count goes to 1-1.
Dick, I think right now would be a good time for all the Grand Rapids hitters to take a strike. You hate to say that as a former hitter. I hate having to take pitches, but if they're going to get back in this game, they're going to have to get some help from Chuck Wiley. They're obviously not going to be able to go up there swinging from the heels right from the get-go and knock the ball around the ballpark. They haven't done it yet. They're going to need a little bit of help from the pitcher and inability to get it over the plate. So it would be, I think, to their advantage to take a strike.
1-2 pitch. Got him. Another strikeout for Chuck Wiley. He has now, let me add him up here real quickly, struck out 9. And the 3 hits that Grand Rapids has picked up here this afternoon, none have been hit hard. A couple of high bouncers up the middle and an infield hit.
They've only really hit one ball hard, and that's the ball that Hollum hit to left field that Hansen made that sensational diving catch on.
2 gone quickly here in the 6th. Here's Troy Kuzi. Kuzi drove in the only Grand Rapids run in the 2nd inning with one of those bounding balls up the middle.
And Wiley can smell it now, Dick. He's coming right after him. There won't be any wild streaks, I don't believe.
Boy, that might have been his hardest fastball of the afternoon. He really zipped that one in there.
The mark of a real good competitor. He held him close. He struggled a little bit, but held him close with that good stuff, and now he's got a 6-1 lead. He can smell the state title right around the corner, and he's coming right after him with his best stuff, right over the plate.
Kuzi can't get around on the fastball, fouls it away. Count remains 0-2.
Great to see a high school athlete able to be such a strong competitor and not get tentative in this situation where he's got a comfortable lead and he doesn't think all I have to do is just aim it up there. He's coming right after him saying, here, try to hit this one.
Well, Grand Rapids through 5 innings has left 9 men on base. They left the bases full in the 1st when they did not score. They scored once in the 2nd, but left 2 more on. They left a couple of runners on in the 4th. And now Wiley is 1 pitch away from setting the side down in order for the first time this afternoon. Pop up to the right side. Springer is there. It is a 1-2-3 inning. And now Owatonna is just 3 outs away from the Class AA championship for 1988.
Uh-oh. Call 483-3541 before you dig.
Morgan Stewart hasn't lived with his parents for 6 years.
See you at Easter.
Yeah, Easter.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Now his mother's on a mission
Morgan?
Hi.
to take him to a place even more frightening than boarding school.
I'm home.
Home, where he'll be welcomed with open arms, showered with love and attention,
I was thinking about getting a couple of tickets to the Redskins game.
where he'll feel safe and secure,
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. You didn't have to wait up for me.
and be able to relax and just be himself. All Morgan wanted was to be understood.
Dear God, he's on drugs.
I've been freebasing Clarissa.
But there are 2 things he just didn't count on: Mom and Dad.
Well, isn't there some kind of hormone shot you could give him?
There's no known cure for puberty.
Lynn Redgrave and John Cryer. Morgan Stewart's Coming Home.
Brett Hollum comes out for the bottom of the 6th inning. Had a rough 5th inning physically and otherwise, as Owatonna scored 4 runs in the 5th. Hallam will face Steve Smith, Kirk Keel, and Mark Hansen in the bottom of the 6th inning. First pitch misses a ball.
I'm sure that a good competitor like Brett Hallam would not make any excuses for his performance, but you saw that graphic. He struck out 9 Owatonna hitters in 5 innings. 9 tough Owatonna hitters. Had a little trouble with his control, the 3 wild pitches, but really had a tough 5th inning as a result. I strongly believe of taking that shot off the leg. It just couldn't help but affect him. He's got great stuff. He's been a good competitor. He struck out 9 hitters in 5 innings on a good hitting ball club. That's just too much of a change of pattern there for the roof to fall in on top of Brett Hallam without there being a reason. I think the reason being a very, very sore right leg.
3-1 pitch and a leadoff walk here in the 6th inning. Well, the cleanup hitter for Owatonna, Chad Wiley, should be convinced that Hallam's a pretty tough pitcher. He struck out 3 times against him. A leadoff walk here. Smith is on first. Kirk Keel, who sent that line shot up the middle off the ankle or shin of Brett Hallam to start the last inning and open up what turned out to be a 4-run 5th inning. 6-1, Owatonna leads it, bottom of the 6th inning. Breaking ball down and away. Ball 1. Looking to the top of the 7th, the last chance for Grand Rapids. The scheduled hitters, Bill Bishop, Brad Rasmussen, and Brett Hallam, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the lineup. There goes the runner, pitches inside, and it's a stolen base for Steve Smith.
And there's a classic example of who you steal a base off of. You steal the base against a pitcher and not the catcher. Brad Rasmussen didn't even have a chance to throw that ball. The runner was off and running towards second base before Brett Hallam had even started his delivery to home plate. By the time Rasmussen got to the ball, all he could do was watch him coast into second.
2-0 pitch. There's a strike, 2-1. Keel eventually reached on an error on that line shot headed up the middle. The ball caromed off the leg of Hallam over to Kevin Persons, who threw to Barry Peralt, who could not handle the throw. The error charged, I believe, to the first baseman, Peralt. Shouldn't say that with a great deal of certainty because the throw was a little bit high. 3-1 the count now to Kirk Keel.
Either way, that's an awfully tough error to be charged. Or I shouldn't say error to be charged. It's a tough way not to get a hit. When you hit a ball that hard, deflected off the pitcher, that should be a hit.
And now a full count to Kirk Keel. This Owatonna team filled with seniors. All these seniors, of course, playing their last high school game, and they're trying to go out as 88 state champions. And ball 4. Walks to the first 2 hitters here in the 6th inning. And we'll go back to the top of the order and Mark Hansen. Hansen, 1 for 2. He's also hit by a pitch. Hallam stares in.
And we talked about the seniors on the Owatonna Ball Club trying to go out as state champions, and as we watch the pitch, what a great thing it would be for them. What they want to go out as state champs, and what a great team this Grand Rapids team will be next year, as most of them are juniors. But the mainstay of this club, Brett Hallam, one of the few seniors on the team.
Curveball misses, 2-0.
So Grand Rapids will have an excellent chance at it next year, but they're going to have to come up with somebody to fill the shoes of Brett Hallam, which I think probably will not be too easy.
And Bob Streeter is coming out, and he may make the pitching change. Troy Kuzy. Again, we would expect to be the second pitcher, and this is his Streeter's third trip to the mound. And so we'll try to keep on top of the lineup changes here as to where the position players might be moved around. But the other seniors on the Grand Rapids team, reserve outfielder Jerry Hoffman and another reserve outfielder, Jim Brooks. And Holland will stay in the ballgame. Looked for a while as if they were going to make some changes, but I don't see any.
It sure looked like he was going out there to make a pitching change. And to tell you the truth, Dick, I'd kind of like, and now we're having a discussion here, I think Coach Dale Tim was wondering about the number of trips that Coach Streeter has made to the mound.
Well, the rule is 3 trips to the mound and a pitching change has to be made. However, one of those trips may have been counted as a medical trip because of the line shot up the middle.
Right, and I'm not as familiar with high school rules. I know there are some special cases. In professional baseball rules, of course, it's 2 trips in any one inning. You can make as many trips to the mound as you want during the course of a game. It's 2 trips in any one inning. In high school, evidently, it's 3 trips during the course of a ball game to any one pitcher, but you can make a trip for a medical reason and have it not count. So I assume that is the case with the Grand Rapids coach and his pitcher, Brett Holland. I think one of those trips was to see if he still had a right ankle.
Well, he needs to start throwing strikes, and he misses again. It's 3-0.
I was kind of hoping that he would take Brett Holland out of the game there, Dick. He's pitched his heart out. He's been the mainstay of this club. It would be nice to see him walk off the mound in the title game and get a nice round of applause instead of struggling with his control and his aching right leg. And you'd like to see him go off, and here comes Coach Streeter. He's seen enough now. I think he feels the same way. Brett looks like he's going to stay in and play third base. So I'd like to see him get a real nice round of applause from this. And it looks like he's going to get it from this Metrodome crowd. He's pitched a fine ball game.
So walks to the first 3 hitters here in the 6th inning. And that will bring Troy Kuzy to the mound. Now Kuzy only pitched in 3 games, or had only 3 decisions, we should say, during the regular season. He was 2-1 with a 3.54 earned run average. The drop-off statistically very dramatic, so you can understand Streeter's reluctance in going beyond Brett Holland to Troy Kuzy. But with 3 straight walks and a rough couple of innings here in the later stages of the game, he really had no choice. There you look at the total record for Troy Kuzy. 35 innings, 31 hits, 9 walks, and 9 strikeouts. So he inherits a tough situation here, Roy.
He sure does inherit a tough situation, and as we mentioned earlier, Troy Kuzy is a freshman ball player, one of the few that I can imagine ever playing in a state high school championship game. I'm sure one of the reasons why Coach Streeter did not use Troy Kuzy too much was for that very reason, his youth and inexperience. A real tribute to Troy Kuzy that he's as integral a part of this Grand Rapids team as he is, and bodes well for their future if he's got 3 more years of pitching eligibility.
Big swing and a miss, strike 1. Now Kuzy comes in with the bases full, no one out in the 6th inning, his team trailing 6-1. Squeeze play, and it's fouled back, and it's 0-2. I think we may have had a missed sign because the runner at second base, Kirk Keel, did not leave with the pitch. And
that's
the
a pretty
runner's
gutty
at first
call.
and third. Yeah.
That's a pretty gutty call with the bases loaded, Dick. Everybody takes off. If he pops that ball up, you got a real good chance at a triple play.
0-2 pitch. Tried it again and strikeout. Now the runner on first is tagged out, and it turns into a double play. Well, the catcher, Brad Rasmussen, had problems holding onto the ball, but first base technically was occupied, so he did not need to throw to first. The strikeout was made. And the runner at first, Mark Hansen, was all the way to second base. So now 2 outs, runners at second and third, and Chris Urbain is the hitter. Urbain will face Troy Kuzy.
Kuzy looks like he throws the ball real well, Dick. I think there's got to be a really, really good high school career for this in store for this young man.
Hit well to left center field. Reed makes the grab in the gap. And an interesting way to get out of an inning, but Troy Kuzy did it. Came in with the bases full, nobody out, and he gets the 3 outs, no run score, but Owatonna is still 3 outs away from the state championship.
Take an amazing voyage through Plymouth Grand Voyager and discover why the pride's inside. Beyond the versatility and front-wheel drive, past the powerful fuel-injected V6 engine, the best protection and highest owner satisfaction of any minivan. The pride's inside before you're inside.
See your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer now.
In response to our challenge, people attempted to stain new wear-dated carpet with stain blocker in some very imaginative ways. Of course, they didn't have much luck, but they sure had fun trying.
Available at Carpet Country, Brooklyn Park.
If you're one of the thousands of people who asked for a free sample of wear-dated carpet with stain blocker and tried it, you'll probably like to know what steps to take to buy it.
Wear dated, please.
So call for the dealer near you.
Available at Carpet Country, Brooklyn Park.
How you doing? It's Richard Lewis. I'm exhausted. I have a concert to do soon on HBO.
That's right. It's Richard Lewis on location for an all-new HBO stand-up special. Richard Lewis, I'm exhausted.
I just don't know. There's not a verbal lie that describes what happened to me as a child. On Hanukkah, my mother had a menorah on a dimmer. It's the most frightening thing ever.
Don't miss Richard Lewis and his all-new on-location concert. I'm exhausted.
Dick Bramer along with Roy Smalley upstairs. Ole Zupitz is downstairs. Owatonna trying to close it down for their second state championship and their first since 1974 when they beat Wilmer 6-5 in the championship game. Bill Bishop, Brad Rasmussen, and Brett Hullum are the scheduled hitters. And Chuck Wiley trying to close it out here. 1-1 count to Bill Bishop. Bishop with one of the 3 Grand Rapids hits.
That's
1-2.
That's a nice breaking ball, and he's still coming right in there, Dick. As we said in the 6th inning, he can smell it, and they all can now. The Owatonna infield had a little huddle on the mound. I should say the Indians had a powwow right around that pitcher's mound, and you could see them trot back to their positions.
Slapped. Nice stop by Wiley. Chad throws, and it throws wildly. And now Bishop will try for 2, and he's in there. That ball is deflected and into short left field, but a fine stop by Chad Wiley. His throw was wild, and he'd probably get a base hit and an error on the play, and that's the ruling. So Bishop tries to get things started here in the 7th.
Hard hit ball by Bill Bishop. Nice play by Chad Wiley. Here you'll see it's a fastball. He goes with it and slaps it hard down the line. Wiley knocks it down and then hurries his throw a little bit to first base and throws it wildly. Bishop able to get to second base.
Now Chuck Wiley just concerned with the hitter here. His first pitch to Brad Rasmussen is high and outside.
I'm sure he would like to hold the runs down the total runs down as low as possible, but that runner at second base doesn't mean anything. He's concerned with the next 3 hitters, getting those 3 outs.
Again, high and outside, 2-0. Now Grand Rapids offensively can look back to some missed opportunities in the first few innings when they left 9 men on in the first 5 innings. And now Dale Tim will come out and chat with his pitcher. But again, missed opportunities for Grand Rapids early, and the hard shot off the ankle of pitcher Brett Hollum, 2 big factors in this ball game so far.
They sure are. We were talking Thursday night, Dick, about how lost opportunities will come back to haunt you. That actually pumps up the opposing team when you lose opportunities. You don't take advantage of the opportunities that you have, and that certainly has been the case with Grand Rapids. Missing a number of opportunities to score some runs against a tough Chuck Wiley.
2-0 pitch to Rasmussen. Same spot outside, 3-0. Oh, they call it a strike, 2-1.
I thought that was a nice choice of times to go to the mound by Dale Tim there. Didn't give Chuck Wiley any chance to get rattled at all. He went ball 2 on the next hitter. He went right out there to calm him down. And here he is coming right back with 2 strikes. Nice bit of coaching there by Dale Tim. Saying before the inning, the Owatonna infield huddled with Chuck Wiley right around the mound. You could see smiles on all their faces as they trotted back to their positions to start the inning. They know they're only 3 outs away from a dream.
And now a full count to Rasmussen. One thing that Wiley does not want to do is walk a few people here and get the Grand Rapids bench a little enthused and get those hitters a little bit more aggressive up at the plate. But he does walk Rasmussen, and runners are at first and second with no one out.
Try to get across to all pitchers, even on the major league level, that walks really, really hurt. Because even if you have a team full of 300 hitters, they're going to make 7 outs out of every 10. And a lot of the balls they hit hard are going to be at the player, at the defensive player.
And we will have a pinch runner here for Brad Rasmussen. And it will be Jim Brooks. So Jim Brooks comes off the bench here. And Brooks is a senior, so he will get a chance to play in the state championship game. So he is the runner at first. Bishop still at second base, and now Brett Hollum, the hitter, takes ball 1. Oh, I'm sorry, strike 1.
So Chuck Wiley right back ahead of the hitter again, which is where he wants to be. He doesn't want to walk people and give Grand Rapids any feeling of momentum and any cheap runs. He wants to make everybody hit the ball.
Went after a high pitch, and it's 0-2. Hollum, as we've mentioned before, hit the hardest ball for Grand Rapids. And Mark Hansen made a fine diving play in left field. Hollum will hit out of an 0-2 hole. Nobody out in the top of the 7th inning. Down and in, it's 1-2. Jace Reed would be next. Wiley has given up 7 walks now, but he's just struck out his 10th. Third time that he's struck out Brett Hollum. And the big out is recorded, the first out here in the top of the 7th inning.
That's a big out for Chuck Wiley and the Owatonna Indians right there. He could not let Brett Hollum get on base to load the bases.
Here's Jace Reed, who's walked twice and grounded out. In there, a strike. barring a double play, Kirk Rubedo, the top hitter on this Grand Rapids team, will get another crack. One and one. See the runner at second, Bill Bishop, reaching on a single and then a throwing error by Chad Wiley. Twin brother Chuck Wiley trying to wrap up the AA championship for Owatonna. Chopped up the middle. Nice play. Got him at second. Oh, what a great play by the middle infielders. Mike Nolan to Steve Smith.
What a sensational play by Mike Nolan. Ranging far to his left to stab that high two hopper. I thought it was a great play just to catch the ball, Dick. He was totally out of position, jumped up in the air, threw back across his body. Just a wonderful athletic play.
Mike Nolan with a great play.
Here's the replay, and we saw the attempted turn on the double play throw to first. We missed what a fine play it was.
So now Owatonna 1 out away. And here's Kirk Rubedo. Big swing by Rubedo. He comes up empty. And the Owatonna fans along the first base side all standing. Chopped back to the mound. Chuck Wiley to first, and Owatonna wins its second state championship. For the first time since 1974, Owatonna wins the Class AA championship. Back in 1974, it was the state title outright. And for the first time in history, and it was an outstate final. And Owatonna beat Grand Rapids 6-1.
Owatonna's a fine, fine team, Dick, and a very deserving champion. Extremely well-pitched ball game by Chuck Wiley. Some excellent defensive plays in the field. Timely hitting. That's a fine team. They'll now walk over and congratulate an equally fine Grand Rapids Indians team.
Now you've got to believe these Owatonna seniors have played a lot of ball together over the years, all 10 of them. And the 10 started their last game together, and they won the state championship together. We'll be back with more from the Metrodome in a moment.
'88 Minnesota State High School Baseball Championship action was brought to you by Warner Industrial Supply, Minnesota's largest Pratt & Lambert dealer. Your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers, check the yellow pages for the one nearest you. True Value Hardware Stores, it's more than our name, it's our way of doing business. And Nick's Sports World, your Minnesota sports store, located 5 blocks west of the Dome.
Attention sports fans. Nick's Sports World is your headquarters for world champion Minnesota Twins souvenirs. Stop by before or after any Twins home game and see the largest selection of Twins souvenirs. Register to win Twins home game tickets every time you visit Nick's Sports World. After every Twins home victory, pick up your free rally rag with any purchase. Nick's also carries Timberwolves merchandise, including hats, shirts, jackets, and sweatshirts. So stop by Nick's Sports World on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 7th Street, just 5 blocks from the Dome, for the largest selection of Twins souvenirs.
Discover the refreshing sounds of today's pop, soft jazz, and new age music with The Breeze on Channel 52. Every week, The Breeze features the latest video releases, a soothing selection of new age music, plus interviews, a look at the great jazz legends, and more. Turn on The Breeze all week long on Channel 52.
The breeze.
We're at the field with one of tonight's fielding and hitting stars, Mike Nolan. Mike played shortstop, did a nice job in the field, but you had the big hit of the ball game. 2-2, you wrapped one up the alley, 2-run double or triple, and broke it open. What kind of pitch was it you hit?
It was a fastball. Coach, he just walked the last guy on 4 pitches, and I told him I didn't want to take a pitch because I knew he was struggling, so I thought he'd bring one to me. And he threw a first ball, and then the next one he brought it right to me, so it was just fastball right down the pipe.
Start of the season, you have a senior team. 10 seniors started for you guys today, including your DH. Did you think that you would win the state championship this season?
I knew we had a shot, but I don't think you ever think you're going to win it all. But I knew with our pitching we had a good shot at winning our region at least and getting to the state tournament.
You had a tough road in the region. You lost the first game, had to come back and win 3 straight, including 2 against John Marshall, just to get here. Once you got here, you mopped up pretty well. You took care of Cretin 4-0, and you won going away today.
Yeah. I don't know, we're just playing with confidence after we beat JM twice, and we just came out and hit the ball, and Chad and Chuck did the rest on the mound.
Next year, any plans?
No, I'm just going to go to college, I guess.
Play a little baseball?
No, I'm going to play basketball at Hamel.
Okay, Mike, thanks. Let's bring in the pitcher here, your teammate. Chuck, congratulations, state championship.
Yep, that's great, thanks.
You had your pretty good stuff tonight. Grand Rapids had a chance to get you early. You walked a couple batters in the first inning, got out of trouble there. They had you a little bit on the ropes early, but then you settled down and seemed like you let things take care of themselves.
Yeah, first couple innings, I couldn't get my fastball going in. Seems like from the 4th inning on, I had just total control of my fastball, and that's what I threw last 4 innings, mainly. Just kept riding in there. It was really hitting good.
Kent Herbeck was watching in the other dugout. He said you threw pretty hard. Next year, I understand you're going to go down to Florida, maybe and play with your brother in one of the schools down there?
Yeah, we're going to junior college in Florida for a couple years and see how that goes, and hopefully do pretty good and go on.
Chuck, congratulations, state championship your senior year. Great way to finish.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, so those are 2 of the stars in this afternoon's ball game. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with our post-game show. Owatonna is the new state champion, 1988.
Pratt & Lambert, creators of the finest paints and stains for deep, rich colors, tough weather-resistant finishes, and wood protection, choose Pratt & Lambert. Consumer Reports rated our exterior latex paint at the top. Pratt & Lambert paints and stains over 900 custom color mixes and new superior latex technology. Available through Warner's True Value Hardware, 66th and Nicollet in Richfield, or Warner Industrial Supply, 2211 East Hennepin Avenue, Minneapolis. Minnesota's largest Pratt & Lambert dealer.
If you've always looked to the Far East for small car values, look again. Look to Plymouth Horizon America. At just $59.95, Horizon is one of the best small car values anywhere. With these standard features you might expect to pay extra for. Plus, you get Chrysler's 770 protection plan. So forget the Far East. Look to Plymouth Horizon America. $59.95. Now it really makes sense to buy American. See your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer now.
The Owatonna fans are standing. The players are down on the field getting their gold medals for the Class AA Championship. The trophy will be presented momentarily. And Roy, I think really we can look back at the 2 big turning points in the game might be the fact that Grand Rapids had a lot of opportunities to score early, leaving the bases full in the first inning without scoring. You hate to do that under any circumstances, but they ended up leaving, 11 players on base, 11 runners on base, and scoring just the 1 run. That certainly was a big factor. But also, you can't help but think back to the start of the 5th inning. First pitch scorched up the middle off the ankle of Brett Hollum, and that was the big inning in the ballgame.
I think that is definitely the turning point in the game. Brett Hollum pitching a fine game, matching Chuck Wiley inning for inning, and getting nailed there with that line drive that totally threw off his rhythm. He couldn't find the plate, and when he did find the plate, he had to let up to get it over, and then the result was the big inning by Owatonna. I think had that not happened, had he not been hit, it would have been a much different finish of the game.
Well, you know, you really have to be happy for the Owatonna players, as we mentioned. Must have played an awful lot of baseball together, both organized and not organized ball over the years, and to have those 10 seniors win the state championship in their final game together is certainly a big thrill. But for Grand Rapids, a junior-laden team making it to the state championship game, I'm sure they have to feel very, very good about their chances, their team succeeding next year.
They have to feel very good about themselves. What a great way to finish the season, coming this close to winning the national title, the state title, and then to know that they have almost everybody coming back for next year. Got to make them feel very, very good about their chances. Great for Owatonna to have all those seniors.